The Clyde One Super Scoreboard Podcast with White and Mackay, where wit, wisdom and experience still make occasional last-minute appearances. Smoothly does it.
LinkedIn is pretty great at a lot of things, like helping you tap into your field's latest industry trends and insights. We can't stop your colleague from tapping her pencil. LinkedIn can help you find new jobs that align with your career goals. We cannot help find the source of that weird smell in the office fridge. Ew. And while we can't stop your colleagues from bringing their hobbies into the office, LinkedIn can help bring your career to the next level. LinkedIn is the network that works for you.
Turn ordinary into the extraordinary every day with the Lexus LBX. Whilst most SUVs are big and brash, the LBX is quietly bold and confident. Refined luxury crafted into a compact SUV. The Lexus LBX. What car's best small SUV 2024 and 2025?
What's on TV? The answer is a lot. There's never been more choice over what to put on the box with an abundance of great new shows, but you can miss them all if you don't know where to look. And that's where the Pilot TV podcast comes in, your essential guide to every show that matters. Each week we sift through the very best in prestige TV to help you decide what's worth spending your time on and what isn't. So join me, James Dyer, as well as venerable TV critics Boyd Hilton and Kay Ribeiro, and let us help take the stress out of your downtime. The Pilot TV podcast, because you can't watch everything.
You can't do much in under 5 minutes. Boil an egg? Sure. Cook a roast dinner? No chance. But comparing car insurance prices with mustard.co.uk? Easy. See what you could save in just a few minutes. Click mustard.co.uk. Authorised and regulated by the Financial Conduct Authority. See website for details.
It's game day, and this is the home of Scottish football. It's Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
Good afternoon and welcome to Clyde One Super Scoreboard on what could be a huge day across Scottish football. Hearts go first in the title race, welcoming Dundee, looking to stretch their lead before Rangers and Celtic get the chance to respond. Could be a pivotal day in the European hunt and relegation scrap with Motherwell against Hibs, Kelly Livingston and Falkirk St Mirren. And it's as you were at the top of the championship after a 0-0 draw between Partick Thistle and St Johnstone last night. I'm Gordon Duncan, and joining me today you have Gordon Dalziel, Cammy Bell and Hugh Keevins.
We spent the whole week discussing a goalkeeper's dodgy shoulder. Now it's about players and their hearts and minds and how much strength they have for the fight. Hearts lost at Killie last Saturday night. Motherwell lost at Celtic Park last Saturday afternoon. And neither can afford a repeat today. Otherwise, the title race or the hunt for a place in Europe is jeopardised. And how much fight is left in Kilmarnock and St Mirren. Killie can all but relegate Big Marv and Livy if they win at home today. And if they do win, then St Mirren had better get something against Falkirk, or they could be in the relegation playoffs. Unless, of course, Aberdeen, rotten Aberdeen, 2 points from their last 18, lose at Ibrox. And I think they're in the relegation battle as well at that stage.
I'm looking forward to the weekend. Once again, it's all about 3 points. Forget the performances. Yes, it'd be nice for that to go along with it, but the 3 points is the most important thing. There are a lot of cracking games there, a lot of important games. You look at Hearts, they've got to put pressure on Rangers tonight, and then Rangers have got to put pressure on Celtic tomorrow. You look at the fight there for fourth place just now with Motherwell and Hibs. Motherwell 2 in a bounce, looking to bounce back at Fir Park, where they're usually brilliant, don't concede a lot of goals. And then down the bottom of the table, Falkirk, St Mirren, Kilmarnock, Livingston. St Mirren, Kilmarnock and Livingston certainly need 3 points.
Yeah, another pivotal weekend here in Scotland at the top flight, and you look at the games, Hearts need to bounce back after that terrible display at Rugby Park and really poor result. And then you've got Rangers later on, Aberdeen at home. Stephen Robinson needs to get points on the board because I think they are absolutely in a relegation battle. I expect Kilmarnock to put Livingston away today. So yes, some really intriguing battles.
Oh, what a day it is going to be. Drama guaranteed, controversy possibly, and big outcomes everywhere you look. Up and down the table, up and down the divisions, up and down the country. Scottish football not to be missed at the moment, and there's plenty more to come throughout the weekend as well, with Rangers going later, Celtic going tomorrow. How will it all look on Monday morning? We will find out, but let's deal with the 3 o'clock games first, because they are massive in their own right, and in the title race it is Hearts that go first. They welcome Dundee, and David Friel is there.
Gordon, what a picture perfect day if you're a Hearts fan. Picture the scene, the sun is shining, it's a 3 o'clock kick-off on a Saturday. Tynecastle sold out, your team is top of the league, there's only 8 games to go. Life couldn't get much better. These Hearts supporters and players are living the dream right now, but we also know that they could be in for an afternoon of real tension in this dramatic title race, the most dramatic we can remember. However, what is going to help them cope with that is the presence of Lon Shankland and Cammy Devlin back in the squad. Devlin has been out since January 14th with an ankle injury. Captain talisman Shankland, he pulled up a hamstring injury against Falkirk just a few days later, but over 2 months on, just in time for the run-in, they are back fit. And Cammy Devlin, no messing about, he starts in central midfield. Lon Shankland is on the bench. I'm sure he'll feature at some point, and both are going to provide a huge boost for today and for the run-in. Let's be honest, it's must-win stuff for Derek McInnes's side, especially after they lost to Kilmarnock last weekend. They go first, they are still top, 2 points ahead of Celtic, 3 ahead of Rangers, but I've got a chance this afternoon to pile real pressure on their rivals as they play later on. Hearts are unbeaten at home in the league. Derek McInnes expects that to continue today. He's urged his team to catch fire in the run-in, and on that theme, there's actually going to be flamethrowers on the pitch to welcome the players. It's a tough game for Hearts, and I'm sure Dundee's arrival could lead to shivers down the spine for some of the older Jambos fans. After what happened in 1986, Albert Kidd, remember him, his 2 goals at Dens famously denied him a title 40 years ago. They will need to take care of them today. I think the fact Dundee are now managed by former Hearts captain Stephen Pressley only adds to the intrigue, the storyline, and he's built a very handy team at Dens Park. They've got 2 wins and 3 draws in the last 5 games. They're in form, and they've got a real threat in wingers Cameron Congreve and Tony Ugan. Hearts did beat Dundee 4-0 here earlier this season, but we all remember they needed that Craig Gordon wonder save to secure a 1-0 win at Dens in January. Derek McInnes doesn't want the drama today, he doesn't want the nerves today, but this is going to be a very tricky game for the leaders. However, they look strong. The Hearts boss has made 4 changes. Jordi Altena, Frankie Kent, Cammy Devlin, Ocean McEntee come in. Steinvender, Harry Milne, who's picked up an injury, Blair Spittle and Thomas Magnuson, who's fractured his cheekbone, are out. So Hearts are going to line up. It looks like a back 4. Alexander Swallow in goals, Altena, Frankie Kent, Craig Halkett and Jamie McCarthy at the back. Midfield 3 of Mark Leonard, Cammy Devlin and Ocean McEntee, with Landry Kabori, Claudio Braga and Alexandros Kizaridis up front. The subs for Hearts are Fulton, Beningame, Borkovink, Steinvender, Spittle, Kirjota, Mato, Chesnikov and Shankland. As for Dundee, they've surprisingly left captain Simon Murray on the bench. Jan Dander obviously can't play against his parent club either. Joe Wesley and Ash Hay come in, so it looks like probably a 4-2-3-1 for Dundee. John McCracken in goals, Brad Halliday, Ryan Astley, Luke Graham and Drew Wright at the back. Ethan Hamilton and Finn Robertson at the base of the midfield, with Congreve, Joe Wesley, Yagan and Ash Hay as the front 4. Subs for Dundee are O'Hara, Cometio, Samuels, Murray, Riley, Cottrell, Wright, Bevan and Jones. The referee at a very sunny Tynecastle, Don Robertson, and the VAR is John Beaton.
Hearts get to go first, David Friel. They have home advantage as well. Is this a weekend that they, without exaggerating it too much, have to take advantage of? Are we getting to that stage?
Yeah, 100%. They have to. They can't, especially, their away form hasn't been great recently. I think it's three defeats in the bounce. They have to just win games, Gordon. I would actually think they probably need to win every game before the split, just to keep on track. I think if Hearts could win today and make sure they get the international break on top, I think it would be a huge boost. But they've got another 2 games after this that they really need to win, Livingston and Motherwell. I think it's teetering a little bit, I'll be honest with you. I know people are saying the bubble's not burst just quite yet, but you need to go to places like Killeen when you need to beat Dundee at home, and if Hearts were even to get a draw today, I think it would deal them a real blow. They have to go and win this game. The pitch is perfect, everything's perfect here. They've got Shankland, Devlin back, it's all set for them. Dundee will pose a threat, but Hearts just simply have to win this game.
All eyes on Tynecastle, Hugh. Such is the nature of this. It's uncharted territory for us, with the 3 teams, Celtic fans, Rangers fans, Hearts fans, Hibs fans, neutral observers, all keeping a keen eye on that one.
Well, David described Hearts' challenge for the title as teetering, and they've had 3 defeats in their last 6. That's not title winning form. I don't think they are a vintage side. This season has been unbelievably exciting, laden with great stories for old hacks like David and me, but I don't think it's a vintage championship. I think whether it's Hearts, Celtic or Rangers, I don't think any of them are outstanding. So Hearts had better be careful against a Dundee side who, fair play to Stephen Presley, he wasn't wanted, but he's doing some job for Dundee. And they, well, Hearts have lost 3 of their last 6. Dundee have only lost 1 of their last 6.
Gordon, how significant is it to see Cammy Devlin back in the starting 11 and Lawrence Shankland on the bench? There was so much discussion about how they would cope without them, and yes, the gap isn't as big as it was, but Hearts have essentially made it through their absence, still top of the table. Yeah,
listen, they're 2 of their best players have been absolutely sensational this season. Devlin in the middle of the park's been incredible. Shankland's the leader, the guy who can score goals. I think if it is a bit stuffy today, and I do imagine it will be, Hugh touches on there, they've lost 3, but it's generally away from home. Tynecastle, they seem to be okay. I think the fact that they've got Shankland there, you know, if it was, say it was an 0-0 or it was a tight game, 65 minutes, bringing him on would give everybody at Tynecastle, Hearts fans, the players, everybody a massive lift, because he's so important to them. But I totally agree with the guys. If they're going to keep themselves in this position, because all eyes will be on them after the Rugby Park performance, they have got to put Dundee away today.
Yeah, I was at the game last weekend against Kilmarnock, and Hearts were awful. There's no getting away from it. They were really, really poor, very disappointing. Didn't really offer anything going forward, which was the biggest surprise to me. Claudio Braga was a threat at times, but they're going to have to be so much better than that, and I fully expect them to be better than that today at home. But again, Hugh mentioned it, Dundee are a team that are in form. They've got some good players that can hurt Hearts, so Hearts need to be at their best today. They need to get 3 points because, as David says, they cannot afford to drop any points today.
Looking forward to that one massively. Hearts against Dundee, a pivotal game in the title race. Let's go straight to the other end, because Kilmarnock against Livingston, the narrative has been quite clear. Alison McConnell, everybody on the outside says if Kilmarnock win this, Livingston are gone. Is it as simple as that?
Yeah, realistically, I think you have to think that Livingston need to take something this afternoon, and I'm not sure that the evidence would point to them being able to do so. And you know, we're hearing that there are flamethrowers at Tynecastle this afternoon, but I think we would all accept that it's heat of a very different kind at this end of the table, and it's a huge afternoon for both teams here at Rugby Park, because Neil McCann's side, of course, have the tantalising prospect of moving out of that relegation playoff spot this afternoon, fresh of course from beating league leaders Hearts last Saturday night. They can potentially push themselves away from the bottom 2 if they take all 3 points here this afternoon. Marvin Bartley, Livingston are unbeaten in their last 4 games. However, they're still looking for that elusive win. You have to go all the way back to August for their last victory, which is fairly damning evidence of the position that they now find themselves in, as they sit 9 points adrift at the bottom of the table. Killie are level on points with St Mirren, who are up against John McGlynn's high-flying Falkirk today. So it may well be that even a point this afternoon for Kilmarnock could be sufficient to lift them away from the relegation zone. Celtic are a last-minute winner at Rugby Park here last month. That's the only defeat that Kilmarnock have had on home soil in their last 4 games in Ayrshire. Finlay Curtis, of course, has impressed enormously since he's come here in that loan spell from Rangers. He's impressed to such an extent that he's found himself in Steve Clarke's Scotland squad for the 2 friendlies later this month, although he was quickly brought back down to earth this week with Neil McCann insisting that he wouldn't be guaranteed a starting place. He is, of course, starting this afternoon. Livingston are on a 7-game winless run against Kilmarnock. Few would bet on them changing that this afternoon, and I think fewer still would bet on them calling in a miracle that may rescue their top flight status. Football, though, is full of surprises, as we've seen here just last weekend. However, the expectancy is that Kilmarnock should have enough to go and take something that would push them in the right direction. Kilmarnock line-up there just looks like a 4-3-3, just one change with David Watson dropping out and Marley Watkins coming in. So Kel Roos In between the six, back four of Jamie Brandon, George Stanger, Robbie Dees and Michael Stoning-Larson. Liam Polworth, Aaron Tushboa and Greg Kilty in the middle, and Furley Curtis, Marley Watkins and Joe Hugo up front. On the bench for Kilmarnock, it's Stryjek, Thompson, Mayo, McKenzie, Lyons, Watson, Lowry, Anderson and Klischenko. For Livingston, just one change. Robbie Muirhead comes in for Stevie May, and it looks like a 3-5-2 for Livingston. Jerome Pryor in goals, Brooklyn Cabango, Danny Wilson and Danny Finlayson, Cammy Kerr, Mo Silla, Macaulay Tate, Scott Pittman and Cristiano Montano, and a front two of Robbie Muirhead and Joe Newbley. On the bench is Smith, Fatty, McGowan, Mackay, Smith, May, Bokila, Danzo and Arfield. Referee this afternoon is Ryan Lee, and on VAR is Nick Walsh.
Now, if that one's a big game at the bottom, how big is this in the race for the European spots in fourth place, in particular Motherwell against Hibs, watched by Fraser Wishart?
Yeah, it's just a bit like David and Ali. I'm really looking forward to an exciting 90 minutes here, Gordon. Unusual situation, of course, for Motherwell this season, needing to get back on track after 2 defeats in a row. We've only lost 5 all season. That's exactly the same as Hearts at the top of the table. But those defeats at Dens Park and Celtic Park probably put an end to the fans' dream, that outside chance of being involved in the title race. They're now 7 points behind Rangers in the third. So I think for the rest of the season the main aim is to remain in fourth place, and their main rivals are fourth place are today's opponents, Hibernian, and it looks like fifth place in the league will only get a place in Europe next season if Celtic win the Cup. So still a lot to play for these two teams to try and consolidate fourth place at the end of the season. The gap between the two, 6 points, could have been closer when Motherwell lost those 2 games. Hibernian could only draw with Dundee and a goalless draw at home to Livingston last week, which I watched. I think it was a really frustrating day for Hibs. They had about 85% possession at one point, but it's so difficult to play against a team with 10 men behind the ball and all 25 yards from goal. But today will be a completely different challenge for Hibernian. We know when Motherwell play and they'll look to dominate the ball, likes of Justin Slattery. Their movement will try to cause Hibs problems, try to create space for others. The pitch is looking a lot better than it has done in recent weeks, which will help Motherwell, but it may well be what Hibs do when they get the ball that will define today's result. It might be why they've recalled Martin Boyle at the really end of his Hibs career. He's leaving at the end of the season, but they'll try and use his pace, I think, on the break when Motherwell are pushing forward and Hibs manage to get the ball. So really looking forward to this one. I have to say, if Motherwell win, I think it'll be really difficult for Hibs to close a 9-point gap before the end of the season. But of course, if Hibs win, then it's only 3 points between the two with about 7 games to go. So this is a really big one for both sides and a really exciting and 90 minutes ahead. Team news: Motherwell made 2 changes. Longello suspended, side drops to the bench. In come Welsh and Priestman. They go with a 4-3-3 formation. Callum Ward in goal, Stephen O'Donnell, Paul McGinn, Stephen Welsh and Tom Sparrow at the back. Oscar Priestman, Elliot Watt and Lucas Fadinger in midfield, with Elijah Just, Tawanda Maswanisi and Callum Slattery as the forward 3. Their substitutes: Matty Connolly, Liam Gordon, Jordan McGee, Andy Halliday, Aitor Bjorgolfsson, Sam Nicholson, Luca Ross, Xander McAllister and Ibrahim Saeed. For Hibs, they made 2 changes in that game against Livy last week. Iredale and Elding dropped to the bench. In come Abita and, of course, as I said earlier, Martin Boyle up front there. Go with a 3-4-1-2 formation, a usual formation. Raphael Salinger in goals, Warner Hora, Rocky Bashiri and Jordan Obita at the back. Felix Pazlak, Miguel Chawa, Daniel Barlaser and Ricky Cadden across the middle. Jamie McGrath behind the 2 strikers, Martin Boyle and Ante Suto. The subs for Hibs: Jordan Smith, Grant Hanley back in the team, Joe Newell, Chris Cadden, Jack Iredale, Kai Andrews, Josh Campbell, Dane Scarlett and Owen Elding. And the referee today is David Dickinson, and the VAR is the VAR specialist Andrew Dallas.
Should be an absolute cracker, that one as well. Motherwell against Hibs. Falkirk against St Mirren's got its own intrigue. Dave Galloway's there.
Yes, indeed, Gordon. Well, what a season it has been for Falkirk. A Scottish Cup semi-final awaits, and they're on the verge of clinching a top 6 place. Victory this afternoon would do just that, and another sellout crowd will back the Bairns. St Mirren, well, it's been quite the campaign for them too, hasn't it? Also in the last 4 of the Scottish Cup. Of course, they won the League Cup back in November, but they're in big trouble in the Premiership, level on points with Kilmarnock in the relegation playoff place. Both teams could really do with a win then, for hugely different reasons. Saints interim boss Craig McLeish certainly threw his hat into the ring this week, didn't he? He said that he'd take the job on a permanent basis if it were offered. That is the point, if it were offered. Getting a win here today certainly wouldn't do his chances any harm. Looking at the teams then, just the one change for Falkirk. It's Nielsen in for Henderson. So Bain in goals, across the back, Lisa, Donaldson, Nielsen and McCann. Spencer and Tate sitting, then Brogio, Yates and Miller, with Stewart leading the line. The subs: Hogarth, Adams, Graham, Cartwright, Oliver, Allen, Ross, Brown and Hart. A couple of changes for St Mirren. In come Campbell and Young, out drop King and Richardson. So George in goals. Looks like a back three of Donnelly, Gogic and Freckleton. Midfield: Young, Campbell, Devaney, O'Hara and Tanzer, with Phillips and Lundaloo leading the strike force. For the buddies on the subs bench, it's Mullen, Richardson, King, Idowu, Mandron, McMenamin, Ayunga, John and Faulkner. Match referee here at the Falkirk Stadium, it's Ross Hardy, and Greg Aitken is on VAR.
And of course, Falkirk can seal their top 6 place. Gordon Dalziel, you've been telling Brian Graham it's been done for weeks. Forget it. Don't worry about the arithmetic.
It's done.
Today's the day, and then we can finally get these post-split fixtures out nice and early as well.
Yeah, and I fancy them at home today against what I would call a very poor St Mirren's team, Gordon. I think St Mirren are in real trouble. I think Kilmarnock can leapfrog them today, because I do fancy Kilmarnock to do that. And then St Mirren, all of a sudden, they've got Aberdeen and Celtic before the split. I think it's going to be a long season, but they're still in the semi-final of Cup as well. But league campaign, I think they're in real trouble.
Looking forward to it all. This day didn't need any extra incentive. We've got the leaders going first, trying to lay down a marker before Glasgow's big two look to respond tonight and tomorrow. You've got the bottom two sides going head to head to see if any decisive outcome can be reached there. You've got a battle for Europe. You've got Falkirk against St Mirren. That speaks for itself. And we've added in the sun is shining. What more could you want? We'll be back with a look at some of the week's biggest talking points when we return.
Buzzing for the game this week. I want to hear what my mates are saying. I want to tell them they're delusional. I want to tell them who'll score first. I want to call the half-time score and the full-time score. And when our kid pipes up and says, want to bet? I'll stop. Think about it. Check my limits. Check how much I've played. And maybe I'll think, nah, not today, mate. Sometimes the best bet is the one you don't make. Gamble responsibly. Betfred. 18+. Gambleaware.org.
Because you like spotting yellow cars before your kids do. Because you like to read the score on the screen, especially when you're winning. Because there's a Boots Opticians about 2 minutes from work. Because we have clinical experts and all the latest tech. Because your eyes deserve our ultimate eye test. Because we'll help you find your perfect style. Because of all these things, there's only one choice. Boots Opticians. See what's possible.
Get more of what matters with the new Google Pixel 10a on EE, the UK's best network. Save £16 a month, all while getting Gemini, your personal AI assistant, 30 hours battery life, and data gifting. You'll save when you trade in too. Get your Google Pixel 10a on EE today. Launch offer ends 30th of March.
Saving on minimum 24-month 125GB Essentials airtime plan. Eligibility, credit check and terms apply. Credit by EE Limited. Verify best network at ee.creditk/claims.
Lads, can we finally get this holiday out of the chat? I vote for Barcelona. There's a beach, bars, and a bit of culture if we fancy it. Come on, it's just £60 deposit. Barcelona! 2 votes for Barca then. Me and Soph had a great time in Palma last year, and I remember thinking it would be great with a couple of beers and the boys. Barcelona! 3-1, mate. We're on our way.
Book now and choose from over 75 destinations. Nothing beats Jet2. Subject to availability and conditions.
Private healthcare sounds pricey.
At Benenden Health, it's less than £16 per person per month.
Just for GP calls?
For a 24/7 GP helpline, physio, diagnostics and more. Now, tell me.
All about my medical history?
No medical questionnaires or hidden charges. We like to call it
healthcare done different.
Spot on. Benenden Health. Healthcare done different. Fee review periodically. 6-month wait for some services. T&Cs apply. Selected surgical procedures after 6 months. 24 in Northern Ireland. UK only. Visit benenden.co.uk.
The all-new, all-electric Toyota CHR Plus. Sleek, stylish and quietly reliable. Available with 0% APR representative with £1,500 deposit contribution and save £1,500 with the electric car grant. Get that Toyota electric feeling. Visit your nearest Toyota centre. Price from 34495. Available on Toyota PCP when financed through Toyota Financial Services by 30th of June 2026. Optional final payment. Indemnities may be required. See website. T's and C's apply.
Wrong tool for the job? Don't make that mistake with your van. Get up to 30% off selected new Toyota vans and pickups with a warranty up to 10 years or 100,000 miles with every qualifying routine service. Visit your nearest Toyota centre or visit toyota.co.uk/van savings for more details. Savings on selected vans and pickups ordered by the 31st of March 2026. UK residents. See toyota.co.uk for full details. T's and C's apply.
You're listening to the Clyde One Super Scoreboard podcast, the home of Scottish football, and it's proudly sponsored by White & Mackay Triple Matured Whisky. Now let me make one thing crystal clear right from the start. If you've tuned in tonight looking for balance, for moderation, or for a gentle exchange of views where everyone nods politely and agrees to disagree, you are categorically in the wrong place. But if you've tuned in because you know Scottish football isn't about balance, it's about belief, it's about tribal loyalty, and it's about being absolutely convinced you're right, even when the evidence is screaming otherwise, then you are exactly where you should be. So get comfortable, pour yourself a dram, and brace yourself, because at some point tonight, something you hear will annoy you. This is the Clyde One Super Scoreboard podcast with White & Mackay Triple Matured Whisky. Smoothly does it.
Lots of men out there want to feel more confident in the bedroom. In fact, 1 in 5 men have issues as they get older. That's why MedExpress is here to provide support in minutes through a free online consultation. By completing the short online consultation, they'll suggest the right treatment for your concerns, all from the comfort of your home. And you know you're in the right place. They've been one of the country's leading online pharmacies since 2013 with over 1.5 million customers. Their UK-based clinical team will support you every step of the way and send your medication straight to your door. And the best bit is the whole process is online, so you don't even have to visit your GP. So no more planning or pressure, just confidence when you need it most. Visit medexpress.co.uk to check your eligibility and get 30% off with the code SuperScoreboard. That's SuperScoreboard, all one word, when you check out at medexpress.co.uk.
LinkedIn is pretty great at a lot of things, like helping you tap into your field's latest industry trends and insights. We can't stop your colleague from tapping her pencil. LinkedIn can help you find new jobs that align with your career goals. We cannot help find the source of that weird smell in the office fridge. Ew. And while we can't stop your colleagues from bringing their hobbies into the office, LinkedIn can help bring your career to the next level. LinkedIn is the network that works for you.
The team with the biggest support in Glasgow and the West. This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
Hugh Keevins, Cammy Bell and Gordon Dalziel are in the studio. We've got the top team round the grounds, and what a day it promises to be. We're at that stage of the season. Some of the areas of the table are so finely poised. It cannot disappoint today or tomorrow. It cannot. Something big has to happen one way or the other. But at this stage on a Saturday, once we've done the team news, we tend to reflect maybe on the bigger picture, maybe in some of the stories that have dominated the week that we're finishing off. And sort of out of nowhere, Fraser Wishart, it feels like Kasper Schmeichel's potential retirement dominated things this week. I wonder if you'd give us your perspective. We won't have heard that this week.
Yeah, it was an interesting one. I mean, there's been big debate, of course, about Kasper's form, and I've heard people saying, well, he's diving to his right and he's lost goals or his left shoulder, why would that hurt? But of course, when it sounds pretty bad, both his injuries as well, but I think the surprise was probably more from Martin O'Neill, who seemingly didn't know 100% about how bad it was. But I think it's a big blow. I know he's not been in his great form in the last few months, but he's been a good player for Celtic over the last couple of seasons, and of course Sinisalo's come in and done well, but you know, if he picks up an injury, then all of a sudden Schmeichel will be missed. But yeah, it just shows the value in having communication between manager and the medical team, who seem to know more than Martin O'Neill. But Martin handled it in his usual way, with a combination of making his point but also keeping it quite light-hearted as well. But I think it's a bit of a blow. You know, I said earlier, he's not been in great form, but he's still a top goalkeeper, and he might still have been required. So Sinisalo picks up an injury. It's Ross Doohan is in goals as well. We'll get some really big ties between now and the end of the season for Celtic.
There's been very little sympathy on this show towards Kasper Schmeichel, I've noticed, Fraser, this week. What do you make of that?
That's the modern world. Nobody's any sympathy. They love you when you're playing well, but as soon as you have a couple of bad games, get rid of them, get them out the door. A guy was playing with what sounds pretty serious injuries. You know, when it's your shoulder cuff and your bicep and you're a goal, even if you're diving to your right and it's your left shoulder that's the problem, it still hurts, you know. And it just shows you, though, players don't get any thanks for playing with injuries anymore, you know. As soon as people think you're dispensable, fans are on the phone saying, just get rid of them, you know. So the modern world, Gordon, and it's the world that football players have to live in.
David, feel you, obviously in the day job, follow these things pretty closely. You'll have followed Kasper Schmeichel's time at Celtic closely as well. What did you make of this? Because there's a few layers to it, it feels like.
Yeah, it's hard to even know where to begin, Gordon, to be perfectly honest with you. It feels almost like it's Kasper's world and everybody else is living in it. It's just been such a strange episode, I'll be honest. Watching his interview from the other night, it kind of felt like Celtic were a bit of an afterthought for Kasper Schmeichel. That might be unfair. However, I think if you announce you're such a high profile player and you announce that your career could be over on a global TV channel, and you don't mention the club paying your wages, but you do mention Denmark in the World Cup, I think it's only natural questions are asked. Martin O'Neill was put in the spot yesterday. He was pretty open, pretty honest, both in terms of his knowledge of the injury, how bad it was and how it all played out. But for me, there's still so many questions to be answered. I mean, you think of him, you know, missing out in the Stuttgart game. He was then ill on the day of the Old Firm game. He then returned to training last week. He was pictured training last week, and then suddenly at the start of this week he announces that his shoulder is so bad that he might never play again. It's just very, very strange. Look, we wish him all the best. As Fraser said, he's an unbelievable career. He clearly is injured, but it's just been quite difficult to get a handle on the timeline of it all, and in terms of reporting and all this sort of stuff, it's been one of the strangest episodes I can remember.
I mean, Alison McConnell, it was as David says, there's quite a lot of detail. There was one caller that jumps out for me last night who called in to make the point that whilst they're not all necessarily linked, just another strange episode in what has been a bizarre season for Celtic.
Yeah, I think it lends itself to an accusation of things being very disjointed behind the scenes. I don't think it's a good look when the manager comes out and says, I learned of this through the headlines that greeted an interview. I had no concept of it, one, becoming public, or two, the severity of the injury and what it meant. I have to say, when I first heard it and first saw it, I assumed that some of it had been fresh. Some of the revelations were pretty fresh. I'm not sure if that is the case or not. I still don't know anymore. And I would go there to what David had said just about the timeline. It seems incredibly confusing when you look at when details emerged of the fact that he probably needed surgery on the shoulder, and it now looks as though there could be 2 operations required that may signal the end of his own career. And it just seems bizarre. The nature of how it has unfolded and the lack of communication between player and between club is difficult to ignore, and I do think it points to just a sense of things being very disjointed behind the scenes. And I don't know who you would point the finger at for that. I think I would imagine, reading between the lines yesterday at the press conference, I can't imagine Martin O'Neill would have been overly happy to hear that not coming through a phone call from the player himself had those revelations been made to him at the start of the week, for example. I think your club and the people who pay your wages should probably be your first port of call. On a human level, if it does signal the end of his career, I think it will feel like a very limp way for it to come to a close.
Mr. Goalie, you're in the studio, give us your take on it. Cammy Bell, you've had a similar injury, I think, is that right?
Yeah, I done torn my rotator cuff and bicep tendon, and also it was dislocating at the time, so a subluxed cuff that was basically lax in it, so very similar to what Kasper's done, and I tried to avoid the surgery and do a lot of rehab around about strengthening the muscles in and around that area. The problem I had was my shoulder kept on popping out and dislocating, so obviously it wasn't ideal as a goalkeeper, and you couldn't get away from surgery. So you try everything. As a player, you try everything not to go through that surgery. You will play with the injury, and again, I've done it myself, not just on the shoulder, on my knees and stuff, where you're getting injections to play to try and avoid that long-term injury. So you've got to feel a little bit for Kasper, from my point of view as an ex-player, that he is trying to put himself out there. Rightly or wrongly, you do that as a player because you want to be on the pitch trying to help your team. And yeah, listen, it's It's not played out the way that everyone would have wanted it to, but it is, for me, when I look at Casper, it's disappointing the way that it potentially could end.
When the caller came on last night, Gordon, and spoke about the madcap season, he was 100% correct. Russell Martin, 123 days in the job at Rangers, leaves with a police escort and mounted police to protect him at Falkirk. Brendan Rodgers, iconic Celtic manager, parts company with the club and is vilified in print by the club's principal shareholder, Dermot Desmond. Wilfred Nancy has 33 chaotic, turbulent, useless days at Celtic and is binned unceremoniously. And now we have Kasper Schmeichel. It's a sad end to his football career, but the fact of the matter is, the Celtic supporters now regard him as an unwelcome person because they feel that he used Celtic and was responsible for the loss of league points while not being fully fit and not giving a full disclosure on the extent of his injury problem.
What do you make of that though, Cammy? Because you've outlined, being in that situation where your intention is to be brave and knuckle down and step up and all these phrases that you would hear and try and contribute. None of that is impressing the Celtic fans by the looks of it, or Hugh or others. No, listen, there'll be loads of players. There'll be 10, 20, 30 players playing today with injuries, and that's just the nature of football. As a footballer, you pick up knocks, and it depends the extent of them. You would have conversations with your medical staff. Of course you would. Again, when I was playing with injury and you were getting injections, the medical staff will not give you an injection, a painkilling injection, to go and play unless they understand the extent of the injury. They wouldn't do that. They've got a responsibility. So they would absolutely understand what's going on with Kasper's shoulder. But again, there would be an element that he'd be saying, look, I can handle this pain, I can play. And yes, in hindsight, maybe he shouldn't have played. But again, what if he had went on the pitch and had an outstanding performance? Then everything's different. It's only because he's went on the pitch and made these mistakes that we're all highlighting. People are saying that's why he made the mistakes. Yeah, I get it. But how long has he had this for? Seems just like quite a while. Again, so he might have. We've seen him play well recently as well as making mistakes. So again, was he playing well in these games where he had the shoulder injury? And we're just highlighting it because he's made mistakes within them games. So yeah, listen, I fully expect the medical staff to have absolutely known the extent to his shoulders. Players get scanned all the time. They understand what's going on with the body, and it's their responsibility to know that as well. Celtic can't afford to have this become any bigger of a distraction than it had already become. It's now down to Sinisalo. He will have the jersey unopposed unless he gets injured and Ross Doohan has to be brought in. It's down to Sinisalo, who, luckily for Celtic, hasn't put a hand or a foot wrong since he came in for Kasper Schmeichel. There are 8 league games. There's a title to be won. Thank you, Kasper, and good night. David Friel, Martin O'Neill's style in his, I was going to say his second spell, this of course his third spell, but you know what I mean, years on from when he was here and he was a different character by all accounts. His style is to inject a bit of humour and a light-hearted nature to a lot of these things. Do you think behind closed doors he'd be a bit more annoyed at the way he found out? I mean, he said he would have preferred not to have found out in the way that he did, but he obviously wasn't publicly very annoyed about it.
Yeah, I think he handled it pretty well, to be honest with you. Of course he must be annoyed. I mean, as I said, it came across in an interview that the be all and end all for Kasper Schmeichel was getting to the World Cup with Denmark. Now, as I said, that might be unfair. Kasper Schmeichel's yet to speak about Celtic and about everything he was going through. It was a very, very sort of kind of bombshell interview to say that he might never play again, but you can only imagine what Martin O'Neill was thinking, because he has picked him, as did Brendan Rodgers, as did Wilfred Nancy, only for Kasper Schmeichel to reveal to the world that he's basically been playing with a really bad shoulder for a long time. So yeah, he must be, but I don't think this time around it's going to be Martin O'Neill's style to come out and really slaughter his own players. As you say, he's dealt with it all with a bit of humour. He still feels sometimes like the supply teacher in the way he kind of speaks to us. I dare say behind closed doors he's far more, I don't know if ferocious is the right word, but I think he'll be a lot stronger. However, it can't become a sideshow, as you said. It just can't become one. You know, Kasper Schmeichel was pictured at training yesterday, apparently out helping the goalkeepers. Don't really know what that was about. It can't become essential. Celtic have to move on. Sinisalo's doing very well as the number one goalkeeper now. He has to get full support and full backing from the likes of Ross Doohan now. Kasper Schmeichel, as I said, we wish him all the best. We'll see how his rehab goes. But it's just been a very sort of I think needless episode.
It's not a huge deal or consideration necessarily, but I suppose, is this what happens when you sign an experienced player of a certain profile, if you like? Celtic and Rangers for that matter, and a lot of the big clubs, they do well at keeping things in-house and behind closed doors at times. James Forrest isn't popping up on American TV is the example I'm trying to make. When you get someone of that size of profile, David, do you almost have to relinquish a bit of control, or is that what we've seen play out here?
Yeah, I think so, 100%, Gordon. He's on American TV with his dad and Thierry Henry and everyone else, and he's taking the chance to basically explain what's going on. As I said, I'll say it again, without mentioning Celtic ever, which really jarred. So yeah, I think it is. He's very, very high profile. I don't know if he's high maintenance as well. I don't really know Kasper Schmeichel, but he's clearly a big character. He clearly wanted to put a message out there in terms of where he was at, in terms of his injury. It surprised everyone, including his own manager. But Celtic can't waste any more time or energy on it. Now, as Martin O'Neill said yesterday, they'll help him through his rehab for as long as he wants, and then take it from there. But you'll never see Kasper Schmeichel play for Celtic again. His contract's up in the summer, and he'll go at the end of the season, basically.
Well, maybe not quite as dramatic, but we've got a big injury update from around the grounds. It might well involve the title race as well to bring you, and we'll do it next.
The winning team all season long. This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
15 minutes to kick off in massive 3 o'clock games up and down the league, up and down the country. The table toppers' Hearts have a huge game and a huge piece of team news as well. David Friel, tell us.
Yeah, Gordon, I feel as if I'm a bit of a jinx. The last time I was at Tynecastle covering the game, Adju pulled up in the warm-up, but this time Craig Halkett has pulled up in the warm-up. Apparently he's got a back issue, he won't play. He was captain for the day, he's Hearts leader at the back, he's probably a Player of the Year candidate as well, but he won't take any part in this game. Michael Steinvender has come off the bench and he will play central defence with Frankie Kent. Alan Forrest is taking his place among the substitutes, so a huge blow for Hearts. No Craig Halkett. Remember, they're also without Stuart Finlay, who's a long-term injury at the moment, so that means Derek McInnes is going into this must-win game without his first choice central defensive partnership. No Craig Halkett at all for Hearts today.
That must be incredibly frustrating, David Friel. Derek McInnes stands, looks out on the pitch, a wee smile on his face, seeing Shankland and Devlin back out there warming up, and then notices Craig Halkett limping towards him, not only for today but for this title run-in.
Yeah, exactly. And I dare say he just hopes that there's nothing long term. Obviously they've got the break coming up now, and maybe Derek McInnes is just taking it as a precaution. We'll speak to him later on after it, but yeah, it feels like he gets a couple of players back, but then he loses a couple of players. You get Thomas Magnuson out with that cheekbone injury, you still have Adju out, Stephen Kingsley's out, Halkett, Finlay. It mounts up. Every team has had injury problems. Just look at Celtic, Rangers have had their share too. But at this stage of the season, you need your big players, you need your characters, your leaders. As I said, Craig Gordon's another one who's out, obviously not in the squad with that shoulder injury. So Craig Halkett had the armband, he was captain for today, but will not play after that back injury.
Wow, that's a potentially big one for Hearts, Hugh.
It sure is. It's all about what Dundee can do to capitalise on the loss of Halkett. Derek McInnes has to get on with it. David Friel's correct. We're at that stage. Push has got to shove. We are between the rock and the hard place. You just have to put up with anything that comes your way and overcome it. And it's a blow. It's a psychological blow as well as a physical one. But they have to put up with it or they won't be champions.
Yeah, I do agree with you, Hugh. I think you've just got to suck it in and get on with it. But it's massive because you're losing the captain for the days. David was saying there, he's in great form. He had a great partnership with Finlay. He's out as well. So if you're Dundee, I think you're looking at that. You might fancy something here this afternoon.
Got a goal in
big
as
goal.
well, Halkett.
Yeah, he's a massive miss. He's a leader. And again, watching the game last weekend, yes, Hearts weren't great, but again, I watched Halkett and he is a leader. He's around about the players after the game, so it's always disruptive when a player gets injured in the in the warm-up, and you have to change your starting lineup because the day before you've prepared as a team, set pieces. Yes, whoever comes in will be ready, but it's just that little bit of disruption, a little bit of negativity that Hearts don't need at this moment in time. So, as you say, Hugh, can Dundee take advantage of that?
Yeah, a blow for Hearts for sure. Craig Halkett out, limps out in the warm-up, and replaced by Michael Steinvender at the back. What about Motherwell against Hibs? Fraser Wishart. Jens Bertolaska has been a source of constant fascination in his time here. I'm going back to the last time Hibs visited. He really mixed it up, made loads of changes, changed his shape. It caught everyone off guard. He went public and said he was leaving Grant Hanley on the ball. Grant Hanley gave away a penalty and was sent off. The game plan worked masterfully, and he's maybe just a slight tweak today, going to that 4-3-3 and trying to get Motherwell back to winning ways.
Yeah, he's left out Ibrahim Said, who is such a great player, a bit of a maverick, creates lots of chances, but can be poor at the same time, and he just excites the fans because of the way he plays. But he's on the bench, and you're right, they brought in Priestman, who's going to shore up that midfield a wee bit. And I'm looking at Hibs, they are lining up and just in a warm up as well. Might be a back four for them, maybe Bobita playing left back, push Cadden further forward, maybe Boyle on the other side as well, so maybe a 4-2-3-1 for them, a slight change by Hibernian, maybe just trying to shake it up a wee bit. Grant Hanley's on the bench, just watching him warm up as well. But Bertolaska has changed things around. I was talking to Lee Miller, Lennon's father. I think Lennon's coming across today after a win last night playing for Udinese, but Lee Miller was saying to me that he was at the game. That game you're talking about, the 2-0 game, and he said Motherwell were just absolutely brilliant, the best performance he'd seen by any club for many a year. So they've got that in the locker. We know the way they play, and it's interesting. The Hibs might have changed the formation. We'll see once they line up to maybe try and combat that, and maybe thinking that Said would play on one side, maybe Slater on the other, just off the middle. So there's so many options in this Motherwell team, and he's not made as many changes as he did earlier on the season. Bertolaska, it was 4 and 5. It's just 1 or 2 I've noticed in the last few weeks. I think maybe just getting down to the nitty gritty of the end of the season. He's just relying on his core players. But an exciting 90 minutes ahead. You know, Hibs have that in the locker. They've got exciting players as well. I think their problem's just been inconsistent form, whereas Motherwell have been very, very consistent. So this is going to be a close one. I'm really looking forward to this 90 minutes.
It's funny how things change though. I mean, you earn it, you deserve it. But in years gone by, when Hibs come to Fir Park, with varying degrees of confidence, but you now get that big old crowd inside Fir Park almost expecting Motherwell to win these games against teams that have a much higher budget than them. Think that bring its own pressure?
I think it does, and a slightly different pressure now for Motherwell. They've been under the radar in the first half of the season, but everybody talking so highly of them, very complimentary of the way they played, and rightly so, dominating possession against all the teams in the league, including the league leaders and the Old Firm. But it's slightly different now, Gordon. If they lose today, it's only 3 points to themselves and Hibs. And I said earlier that if Celtic win the Cup, then 5th place does get a place in Europe. But if it's, say, Falkirk or Dunfermline or St Mirren, then 5th place doesn't get a place in Europe. And that could be where Motherwell will finish up if they're not careful. So that's why today's such a big game. It could be 3 points, it could be 9 points, the difference. And we're just getting to that stage where slip-ups are going to be very, very costly. I do think Motherwell actually will win this game. I just think the way that Bertolaska talks, the way when you speak to the players, he trusts them and he doesn't mind them making mistakes as long as they're trying to play the way he wants to as well, and they're extremely motivated and enjoy his training, enjoy the way he operates as well. And I think Motherwell to the end of the season will focus on just getting that 4th place, and I think they'll get there.
On the subject of pressure and expectation, Alison, is there a danger that Kilmarnock Livingston is a bit fraught?
Absolutely. I think every game for teams at the bottom end of the table becomes a bit like that, because you start to run out of road at this point in the campaign, and you know how dangerous any slips can be. I think the pressure is fantastic on individual players and on clubs as a whole. I think you've seen it in campaigns gone by, and for Livingston I just wonder about the psychological effect of not having won a game since August. You wonder what that does for a team, and Marvin Bartley was saying this afternoon that he'll never put the tag on them that they're in last chance saloon, but I think for us as observers it feels inevitable. It's a question of when rather than if it is confirmed. But for the likes of St Mirren and for Kilmarnock who are down there and fighting for their lives, I think the pressure is exceptional, and it's almost a test of who navigates that best. and who manages to come through that and keep their heads within these games, because there's no doubt that when you get to this point of the season and games start to fritter away, that the reality of finding yourself down there and even dropping into playoff games, it can be absolutely fraught. It's a test of nerve as much as it is of anything else.
Absolutely. And in terms of something tangible to achieve, it's always nice to have that. Dave Galloway, you get the feeling that there'll be another big Falkirk crowd in, knowing that although it's pretty much done and it has been today the day, that they can secure that top 6 place and take the adulation from it.
Yeah, absolutely, Gordon. It's actually just a draw Falkirk need to clinch their top 6 place, but John McGlynn will certainly want them to do it in style with a win. Another big capacity crowd here, full of expectation after the season that they've had. There's a real feel-good factor right about this place, Gordon, with such an impressive first campaign back in the top flight, and confirming a top 6 place would highlight the momentum that is being built here. As for St Mirren, well, contrasting fortunes. Sure, they've been great in the Cups, but in the league that has certainly not been the case. The Premiership form on the road has been dire. Only one win in the league away from home this season. That was back in September, and since then they have lost 9 and drawn 3. Breaking that run here today would be something of a shock, it has to be said.
Yeah, really looking forward to all of this unfolding today, because it has got big jeopardy, big drama. Everything is set up. Hugh Keevins, what more could you want from a Saturday afternoon? A 3 o'clock card, and the sun is even out as well.
I look at the Kilmarnock-Livy game. If Livy, with 1 win in 30 games, don't get relegated, what kind of league are we running here? So that's intriguing. I'm taking Shanklin to come off the bench and win the game for Hearts. That's that kind of day. And Motherwell Hibs is the match for the football purist. You've got 2 very good sides there, and that ought to be a classic in the sunshine in North Lanarkshire. Great day ahead.
And a brief update, I think, David Friel, on that Craig Halkett situation.
Yeah, Derek McInnes has been speaking, Gordon, and apparently he suffered back spasms just as they were kind of almost doing the initial warm-up before just coming onto the pitch. But the quote is that he can't move, let alone run or jump, so clearly a significant issue, and I think Derek McInnes' one hope is that it won't go on until after the international break. Craig Halkett, such an important player for Hearts, won't play today, but Derek McInnes and everyone at Hearts will be hoping he's back soon.
Many people wanted him involved for Scotland in the international break as well, but hopefully he gets well soon. That is you up to speed with the team news, the lay of the land. The atmosphere is building, the scene is set, and we will get the 3 o'clock games up and running next.
Action as it happens, and your reaction from 5 on the open line. This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
The scene is set on a Saturday afternoon. The sun is even out as well, and we are getting there. We're counting down the weeks. We are nearly at the business end of the season, the time of the year when the prizes will be decided, but so much football to be played before then, and you get the feeling today and tomorrow could be a big one indeed. So with that in mind, let's quickly, I'll tell you what we'll do, let's revisit Tynecastle, because it is the place to be. And David Friel, does this feel like a big day in the capital?
It feels like a huge day, Gordon. It's Foundation of Hearts Day, and they obviously at the 20 million milestone. I think it was last week. We've had Paulo Sergio, the Scottish Cup winning manager from 2012, give a really rousing speech. I don't know what's Portuguese for champions elect, but he said everything but that. He was urging the fans to get right behind Derek McInnes and his players. We've had the flamethrowers, we've got the Hearts anthem on just now. The place is absolutely packed. What a day it is. There's people in shorts, people wearing sunglasses. It's just all set up for a huge game in this title race. Hearts are clear favourites to win this game. They have their troubles, as we spoke about. Craig Halkett, the latest to drop out of the team, and I mentioned earlier Harry Milne, who's been one of the best players this season, also didn't make it through injury today. So a rejigged back line. They've got Devlin in midfield, they've got Shankland in the bench. It feels like a huge day. It feels like a real pivotal day in the title race, but Hearts couldn't ask for a better occasion. The noise, the colour, everything around this place just screams this is huge.
Well, the Jambos get the job done. Hugh Keevins, take us through that and the rest of your ACCA.
Yes, the Herts, as they say in Edinburgh, will get the job done. They'll beat Dundee. Motherwell Hibs a draw. Kilmarnock Livy a home win. and Falkirk St Mirren another home win.
I'm going to go a draw at Tynecastle. I'm going to go a draw Motherwell Hibs, home win for Kilmarnock, and home win for Falkirk.
Right, I'm going Hearts Dundee draw. I'm going Motherwell home win. I'm going Kilmarnock Livy, surprise, surprise, draw. Falkirk home win.
And there we are. Just like that, we are underway across the Scottish Premiership.
Clyde One Super Scoreboard Goal Flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy. Get set for the season with expert pharmacy support.
Oh, cannot wait for this. I feel like every week it's just getting more and more exciting. The tension is rising, Hugh Keevins. And we said it earlier on, the introduction of this third team, it just changes everything. There would be a time on this show, let's be perfectly honest about it. We are here in Glasgow in the West. The majority of our listeners reflects the population, they're Celtic or Rangers fans. And if they're not playing at 3 o'clock, sometimes it's a bit quieter. But not when Hearts are around. Everybody looking at that game today to see what the outcome is.
I'm going to throw it out there.
Throw it.
Go on.
Is it just me, or the flamethrowers, Paulo Sergio, this, that, the other? Is there a bit of premature triumphalism going on?
You've got to try and embrace this. Enjoy it, because Hearts might not win the league. That's fine, everybody accepts that. But my goodness, go and enjoy it.
And it is a nice day.
What do you mean premature? It's not an open top bus. We've got a bit of pyrotechnics at the side of the pitch.
Flamethrowers and Paulo Sergio. Premature.
Entertaining.
Aberdeen do that for big games. That's just part of the
Looking
match.
for a lift after last week.
But that's what I'm saying. I don't think they're doing it out of triumphalism.
Go on then, Cammy.
No, I maybe looking for a lift after last week, because as I say, I seen them and they were very disappointing. I know they're a different team at home, but listen, they're going to have to play well today, because Dundee are in good form. They're a decent side. You would fully expect them, but this is where the question marks come. The pressure's on Hearts today. Can they handle it?
You've said it led in a draw.
Yeah. I can see it. I could see it being a draw. Yeah.
Well, there's the quickest goal in Scotland.
It is indeed. Queen of the
Doon
South
Hammers.
East 5-0. Reece Lyon after 2 minutes, nothing yet in the Championship, in the Premiership. Sorry, an early chance for Hibs though, or half chance. O'Hara got his head to McGrath's corner, 6 yards out, and couldn't get it on target. For all the praise Motherwell have had, if Hibs could go and win that really shakes things up in that section of the table as well.
I know there's no room for sentimentality in football, and Gordon and Cammy will know that only too well. I do think it would be a shame if Motherwell, after what they have contributed to this season, did not get something tangible out of the season, and by that I mean a place in Europe. I think that would be regrettable.
Well, don't look at me for disagreement on that, because you won't find it. But there was a minute's applause as well here at Rugby Park for Jim Fleeting. This week.
I knew Jim, absolutely terrific man. Father of Julie Fleeting, wonderful player in the ladies' game, women's game. Managed Ayr United as well. Just an all-round good guy.
Yeah, I knew Jim very well. Put me through my coaching badges. Was always there to help me. My
goodness, we're supposed to celebrate the good things the guy's done on a day like this.
Well, look at the fact that he was a manager of Ayr United. He put me through my coaching badges. Look at the success I had at Ayr United. So it was a good partnership. But no, it was sad news to hear Jim had passed away, and he was a terrific guy.
Yeah, a brilliant guy. Met him on a number of occasions, and just a really nice man, and a sad loss for Scottish football. Obviously, I know Julie really well. We're working with her, so yeah, sad for the family, but he'll be remembered as a real great in the Scottish football. Yeah, well, Rugby Park paying respects early on. There has been a big goal at the top of the table, but it's the League 2 table. Calm yourself. 4-0 Spartans won. Stevie Lawless, formerly of Partick Thistle, Livingston, Motherwell, etc., has opened the scoring there, and that is a boost for the league leaders. Early chance for Kelly. Joe Hugo stabbed the ball just wide. Brad Spencer skied one over for Falkirk. So teams all across the place trying to make something happen. No breakthrough yet. A frantic start at Tynecastle, says David Friel. But that's what Tynecastle's all about, isn't it? And in fact, if Hearts win the league, that's kind of how they'll do it, by being up and at teams, by blowing them away, by trying to overwhelm them. I think everybody knows Hearts are doing it differently. It's not get the ball down and pass it around and all that stuff.
that's okay.
And that's fine, get the job done. Ultimately, that's all Derek McInnes wants today is 3 points on the board, move on, put the pressure on the other two. And as we say, listen, we've seen them in recent weeks against Falkirk, at Tynecastle. It's been a 1-0 win. He'll take a 1-0 win all day long today because he knows this is a difficult game. Dundee are a different side to what they were 2 months ago. They're in form, they've got a bit of confidence about them, they've got good players, so anything that gets Hearts over the line today and gets them 3 points, Derek McInnes will be delighted.
The game I'm looking forward to, Cammy, Hibs versus Hearts.
Yep.
Where Hibs...
When is that, next week?
No,
post-split.
Post-split. The Hibs players, management, supporters would move heaven and earth to stop Hearts from winning the title. It's as simple as that. They wish them no success at all. So I'm really looking forward to that one.
When was the last time you seen that in the Championship?
Is that an administrative error? Ayr United 0, Morton 1. Bear in mind it's March, none of your pre-season stuff. Goal scorer, the most famous family in football, T. Rylist.
How's that possible? They should have went back to the old days. New man.
Is that what they used to say?
Yeah, new man.
No way.
New man. Yeah.
What, like Arthur?
Yeah.
No,
nah, I
new
think
man.
it's just a mistake. If you look at Morton, it's Aaron Comrie, number 3, who's scored. I don't know why.
He's got number 3 next to
I know why.
Why?
Why is the video printer's got Aaron Comrie's goal as being a trialist? It doesn't really matter. Morton are 1 up at Ayr, and I'll tell you what, Hugh.
Yep.
Your meet and greet with Scott Brown.
2 weeks today.
Wow. 2 weeks today. He needs to start picking up some results, or he won't be in a good mood when you get there.
He'll not be in a good mood. He'll not be there. He'll have to travel down with you. What happens there, Chuck?
Well, I don't know what I'm going to do. I've got a plan. I have a plan.
What's the plan?
I'm going to donate my tickets to two people who love a day out at the football.
Oh my word, it's paid £1,000 for that privilege
No,
as well.
no, he's got to sell his tickets to 2 people.
No, it's for charity.
Try and
I'm going to
some
call
of the candy.
I'm going to call Mark Wilson and Alec Ray, and I'm going to say, if Bruni gets binned, nominate 2 good Partick Thistle fans who would love a day out at the football.
No, I think you should go on the team bus. I think you should go down on the Thistle team bus.
Oh, now could you see?
Great,
could you see them allowing that?
Yes, actually, a man of your stature in the game, friends with Alex Ray and Mark Wilson.
That'd be great.
I think you could. I think you could find a space for
team
him.
bus. You know, just travel in cars.
I'm not sure.
I don't know.
You could travel down with Mark in his car.
Mark and Alec. You can sit in the front.
Yeah, they'd be on a team bus, surely.
I don't even know if they've got a team bus.
Partick Thistle must have a team bus.
Yeah.
Dundee are trying to play a bit at Tynecastle. At the other end, Braga's been bright, so it's fascinating there. Whatever happens today, as we said, it really will have a big knock-on effect for Rangers later on paper, certainly. A very winnable game. Football not played on paper, but you would imagine Rangers big favourites there. And then what can Celtic do up at Tannadice on that pitch, which has been struggling? Maybe a couple of days of sun will have helped it out tomorrow. Forfar have equalised against Spartans. So again, like we said, big goal at the top of League 2. East Kilbride fans will be happy to see that one go in, but they've not found the breakthrough yet. Whilst we wait our first goal in the top flight, Hugh, let's do this.
The first half teaser with Archiplan Glasgow. Planning permission and building warrant drawings for home extension, conversion or renovation.
It had to be a goalie question, didn't it? After the week we've had with Kasper Schmeichel, it had to be a goalie question. And it is simply this. Tell me the last 4 Scottish goalkeepers to have played for Celtic, and the last 4 Scottish goalkeepers to have played for Rangers.
Okay, so we need 8 answers in total. We are asking a lot of you today, no doubt about it. 8 answers. Last 4 Celtic Scottish goalies, last 4 Rangers, but we need them all on one tweet, and you need to try and beat everybody else. So get your thinking caps on, send them in. Of course, if you don't think you can come up with all 8, that's fine. Just throw some names at us, see what sticks, and we will work our way through that as the first half progresses. Macaulay Tate's hit a deep cross for Livy. No takers there at the back post, so we await our first goal in the Premiership. Just on the subject of Hugh Keevins' potential meet and greet in the Partick Thistle team bus and all that, a 0-0 between the top 2, Thistle and St Johnstone last night.
When you said Stephen Lawless used to score lots of goals for Partick Thistle, my first thought was they could have done with him last night.
Remind me of your stance. Is that you think that leaves Thistle too much to do?
Yes, to be champions. Yeah, the Thistle will play St Mirren in the relegation playoff final.
He's big with these predictions.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what.
Can Thistle not cut that to 5 points if they win their game in hand?
Yeah, when you look at it, I don't think it's done yet. I genuinely don't. I think the game in hand is so important whenever that is. I'm unsure who it is, but again, if they win that, 5 points isn't a lot. It isn't a big swing.
Do you know, I honestly, I was delighted. I was going to go along last night, and then I seen the score this morning. I thought, oh, that would have ended me. It ended me. 0-0.
Thistle have got a lot of injuries at the moment. Cammy, Tony Watt, obviously on the show at the weekend. Is season potentially over? Depends how optimistic you are. He's not the only one. We mentioned the kind of firepower St Johnstone have got, and the budget and the players that they managed to bring in January. So there's not been a lot between them. Of course, St Johnstone hammered them in the first league meeting, but Thistle have won one. They've drawn a couple. Very little between them in the head-to-heads this season.
Yeah, there's not been a lot. And again, it's difficult for Thistle when they lose big players because they've got a smaller squad. When you look at St Johnstone, yes, they've recruited well in January. They've sort of rolled the dice and went for it, knowing that they're in a good position, and they still are. But yeah, listen, Partick Thistle won't go away. They absolutely won't. I think they'll go right to the end. Whether the gap is a little bit too much, last night was an opportunity to try and close that gap. They couldn't do it, but they certainly didn't lose any ground. So yeah, it's going to be intriguing between now and the end of the season.
Yeah, no goals yet to tell you about Falkirk being the better team at home to St Mirren. That's perhaps not surprising. Killian Phillips has had a goal from distance, well wide though. Young got to the byline. A few half chances popping up here and there. Brooklyn Kabongolo has headed over the bar for Livy. You'll remember he has been in amongst the goals recently. Ross County won Dunfermline 0. It's perhaps a surprise scoreline given recent form. Kieran Phillips opening the scoring for the Staggies.
Now there's another question. Neil Lennon apparently on the short list for the St Mirren job. Would he leave Dunfermline
to go to St Mirren?
Yeah.
All day, would you not?
You've seen his Dunfermline contract.
I would stay at Dunfermline.
I'm just asking. Just making sure.
Yeah, apparently he's been well recompensed.
Is he?
Yeah.
I would be going over the
Kirkcaldy
Bridge every day with a smile on my face. The same way as I went over the
getting a Dunfermline tattoo.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be a bad shout for St Mirren for me. I said that a few weeks ago when the vacancy came about, that again, when you look down the leagues, you looked at managers that were doing well. Yes, you've got obviously St Johnstone and Partick who are sitting at the top of the league, but Neil Lennon's the one for me in a relegation battle. Got that experience, and I think you would be kind of swaying towards certainly having a conversation with him if they could prize him away from Dunfermline.
That'd be your number one choice, if you like. I mean, it's hard because we know that nowadays you're having to bear in mind there's a big wide world out there and people that you've not heard of, which is fine, but if it is about names that we kind of know, would he be your top?
Well, the first thing I look at is St Mirren are in a relegation battle right now. They need to stay up, so they need whoever comes in needs the reaction straight away. They're not building for next season, they're building to stay in this league just now. So again, that's why I would probably go towards Neil Lennon. There's no guarantees in bringing anybody in and getting a reaction, but I think his experience in that league would help them.
Hard though, isn't it? Because if you think you can stay up, if you think you can find a way of staying up, and then it's only a few weeks down the line, a couple of months, whatever it may be, then you do need to build something for the future, don't you? Do you get a guy just for the meantime, or is it still the guy that you think takes you?
I think they've got a massive rebuild. I think they've
hold that thought, please.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
The rebuild might have just gotten bigger because Falkirk have taken the lead, and as it stands they will definitely secure their place in the top 6. They only need a point and they are in front. A defensive blunder, and who with the goal?
Has to be
Barney again. Barney Stewart,
posh boy.
Every single week we'll mention it because it does not get old. 18 months ago this guy is playing university football and he is now banging them in the top flight in Scotland. Incredible.
He's in some form, isn't he? He's in some form.
Here's another question for you that only you two can answer, having been the pros here. Craig McLeish, good luck to him, and I mean no disrespect, but a player's looking at him and saying, well, what's he done?
See, the only thing I would say about that is they're there because Stephen Robinson was getting these results. So it's not.
Yeah.
You can't blame Craig McLeish's lack of experience and overlook how they got there.
I think Craig McLeish, certainly, you listened to his comments yesterday, he put his out there that he would, if the opportunity came, he would take the job on a permanent basis. Absolutely cannot see that happening. Again, I think St Mirren at this moment in time need an experienced manager in to make sure that they're in the league next season, because they're in real jeopardy of dropping out of this division. And I just think, I know what you're saying about building for the future, and again, in 3 months' time there's a big rebuild. I think there's a big rebuild job, but it's much easier doing a rebuild job in the top flight than doing it in the Championship.
Anyway, focus on the positives.
Sure about Lenny?
Yeah, Ross County 2, Dunfermline 0. Kieran Phillips, maybe Neil Lennon's on his way down.
Exactly. If there's any sense, that would be.
Barney Stewart, we said last week, was it a little bit early for the Scotland squad? I think you all said yes, the squad gets announced Monday, he's not in it. It still led to a few people wondering if maybe he was worth a look at. He is in the under-21s. Since he came back to Falkirk, he scored that goal, a hat-trick, against Hibs on the 24th of January, so just under 2 months ago. He's now got 9 in that time. It really is remarkable, isn't it?
I feel for him. I said I didn't think that Steve Clarke would add him to the squad, but I felt there was a good opportunity to take him along and get him in.
Hold on.
He scored another one, hasn't
he? Craig McLeish in.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
Good game, goal St Mirren. They've bounced back straight away, which is always what you're looking to do. You're probably, if you're St Mirren, not going to go and outplay Falkirk there, but take your set pieces when they come along, and that is exactly what they have done. That response will please the travelling fans no end. It was a corner, they managed to get up the pitch.
Barney Stewart own goal.
And they have scored from that corner as well. So well done to St Mirren for managing to bounce back pretty quickly there. I think it looks like it was Miguel Freckleton, I think, with the goal in 18 minutes. Good game.
The players have got to understand that ultimately you have to take responsibility for what's going on here. It's their livelihood. You want to be a Premiership player or a Championship player? Get out there and do something about it.
Arbroath 1, Queen's Park 0, Gavin Riley, Cove 0, Hamilton Accies 1 as well. So we are getting goals starting to go in, but that's a good response from St Mirren. Cammy, it might not materialise into getting anything out the game. I think they had to make sure that they didn't capitulate conceding.
Absolutely. Again, perfect reaction straight after Falkirk score. You go up the pitch within minutes to get that goal and back on level terms. And listen, there's no surprise, it's from a set piece. They're strong at set pieces and nothing wrong with that. Go and score your goals from set pieces if the opportunity is presented to you. They've got themselves back on level terms, because this is a big game. Listen, they'll be looking and probably expecting Kilmarnock to take certainly something from the game at Rugby Park, so they need to take something from this game as well.
Yep.
What about that teaser, Hugh? Remind us of it, actually, just since we're edging towards the halfway point of the first half.
Tell me the last 4 Scottish goalkeepers to play for Celtic, and then tell me the last 4 Scottish goalkeepers to play for Rangers.
We're asking a lot of you today. Listen, we've upped it. We know it's a busy time of the season, so we're asking a lot from you to try and get 8 answers in, but by the looks of it, loads of you are giving it a real good go. Richard Ford wants to suggest Gordon Marshall.
Gordon Marshall? Oh, that's a way,
that's way back. Yeah, that was the 90s.
Stuart Kerr?
No.
Rab Douglas?
Not Rab.
Okay.
Rab was 20 years ago as well.
Richard wants to throw on the Rangers side of things. Don't know whatever happened to this guy. Cammy Bell?
Oh, no.
Not in there either.
No.
Okay.
When were you at Rangers?
15, 16. Well, before that as well.
You were 15, 16?
20.
15, 16.
Come on.
The only thing Hearts fans have had to celebrate so far is Lawrence Shankland coming out to warm up. They have not got going at all so far. Cameron Congreaves had a shot wide for Dundee, miles wide, to be fair.
Well, listening to Cammy's summary of what went on at Rugby Park last Saturday night, Hearts have picked up where they left off in Ayrshire, Cammy.
Yep. As I say, I was so disappointed with them last weekend, and again, listen, every team has their off days, and it certainly looked as if it was one from Hearts, but the problem for me was that it was such a big game. Celtic had a huge result that day, and Hearts needed to react at Rugby Park. It was never going to be an easy game, but they just didn't show up. They actually, for me, when I watched them, Kilmarnock looked as if they wanted it more, which was incredible for the position that Hearts are in. So yeah, they've got to react today.
Yeah, I mean, good news for St Mirren, or not good news, but a kind of positive for Miguel Freckleton. He's the one that gave the goal away. A really poor mistake from him to allow Barney Stewart to score, and he's gone up the other end and levelled things up. So that's the game that's really come to life so far, nothing else. We said Hearts have been slow to start. Dundee are trying to get Tony Yogan on the ball. He's super direct, but they've not offered loads yet either. Motherwell, as you would expect, with the ball and the possession, but no chances there really at Fir Park. And Kelly Livy, we said it could be fraught. Well, it is a bit tight.
You were talking
in that
about
game as well.
Barney Stewart, his hat-trick against Hibs, 9 goals. Hibs' top goal scorer is Jamie McGrath with 8. And Barney Stewart,
incredible, isn't it?
yeah, and they're going for a place in Europe, but the top goal scorer has 8 league goals.
But it sums up the season, Hugh. You said it, and I was looking at the league table. Livingston, 30 games, they've won 1 game, right? And they still got an opportunity to stay in this league.
Yeah,
that's incredible.
Listen, it doesn't really matter how you accumulate the points,
no,
though, does
exactly.
it?
Yeah.
And
well, the way Marv's going to Borough Bell draws.
Well, to be really, really simplistic about it, and it would never happen. You draw every game in a league season, you'd stay up, wouldn't you? You get 38 points.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you know, that's why the win percentage stat annoys me. Because imagine staying up with a 0% win percentage.
Yeah.
Anyway, moving on. But on to what Hugh said, you can sometimes get that with the goal scorers. Do you remember the season Reagan Charles Cook and I think Giacomakis were tied as the top scorer in the Premiership? Remember that season?
Yeah. How many did they have?
Many do you think?
16.
You're now going to aim low and just kill my question.
16 or 13.
13.
16 or 13.
Wow.
You know, so it can happen if there's a bit of a spread out there. I think we mentioned as well, obviously Celtic don't have a number 9 that's banging them in this season, far from it. Rangers don't either. So sometimes you do end up with a lowish total. Luke Graham's been very good for Dundee, says David Friel, which is a bit of a theme.
Yeah,
Cammy, but every time he plays, international recognition, a move in the summer, you feel like something will be round the corner.
Yeah, he's been excellent.
Goal to tell you about.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
Motherwell 1, Hibs 0, and it's actually a bit of a stitch up. I've got to come clean today about why we've sent Fraser Wishart to Motherwell. I want him to take his headphones off. I want him to walk down those stairs, right onto the pitch, halt the play, and hand the Player of the Year trophy, the PFA Scotland over, to Elijah Just, who has scored again. Right foot shot across the goalkeeper. It was a left foot shot in the near post, I think, at Celtic Park last week, and the man from New Zealand has opened the scoring.
I agree with you. I think that boy has been sensational.
Checking offside though, might need to take it back.
Alright,
yeah, might need to take it back off.
I feel sorry for new Motherwell fans because just the stories during the week about Rangers, Celtic have been credited with an interest as well. Motherwell, having contributed so much to this season, are going to pay the price of hard work and endeavour and talent, because the best ones are going.
Yeah,
might not count yet though, so we can
listen.
We'll keep them.
See the best ones go. That's what happens in football. We all know that. But what it'll come with is a finance that'll come towards Motherwell. So again, Motherwell will be prepared for this.
Can we wait to see if this goal stands before we sell the guy?
I'm not even selling him. I'm selling half the team. So no, there'll be a few players that'll move on. No matter what happens between now and the end of the season, because they've got some real talent there, like really good talent, and everyone again looks at teams whether they can take them or not.
Seeing on a wider point, no goal, offside. You need to take it. Fraser's in the middle of the pitch. He's in the centre circle giving them the awards, and you'll need to walk. How embarrassing!
With that velvet jacket on.
How embarrassing! He's going to have to turn around.
Velvet jacket
and go back up to the main stand. Oh my goodness!
You've seen Fraser's velvet jacket?
No.
Oh mate, you need to watch it.
Puts it back in his box. Elijah just will need to wait for another day. So there we go. Motherwell 0, Hibs 0. See, that's what VAR just takes your drama away. Do you know what's an interesting point though on Motherwell selling on these guys if they indeed do?
Yep.
I'm not saying they won't sell any, of course, but see, going back to something Steve Clarke said about the Motherwell and Hearts teams maybe being, greater than the sum of their parts. I think what's so fascinating about this Motherwell team is the structure and the manager is such a key part of it. is it as simple as to say is you can take Elijah Just into another team and he plays as well? Because you have to look at guys like, we've spoken about them many times, Stephen O'Donnell, Paul McGinn. Nobody's, and I get there's an age thing, but nobody's saying, oh, well, by the way, clubs will come and buy them in the summer. I know there's a bit of an X factor the further up the pitch you get, but there'll be a lot of clubs out there don't play in the way that would allow Elijah Just and others to flourish.
No, you're right. You're absolutely bang on with what you're saying there. That the fact that Elijah Just might end up at a team and he might not be as good as he is at Motherwell because of the structure, the style of play. But ultimately, teams look at the numbers. They look at individually. He's been excellent. He's scored at the right times. He's assisted a number of goals. He's a brilliant player. But you're right in what you say. A lot of it is down to the manager. There's no getting away from that. The style of play. Everyone's bought into it. But for me, it comes with it. They're going to lose players in the summer. There's no getting away from that. And that's just what happens when you're successful.
Anyway, no goal. So we've given him Player of the Year award and moved him on for millions.
and then taking everything back.
And he's not even scored. So it's Motherwell 0, Hibs 0. But look, we need something to get a bit excited about because we are lacking in goals. Not at Falkirk. It's Falkirk 1, St Mirren 1. But Killie Livy, Motherwell Hibs, as we said, and Hearts Dundee, nothing yet.
Hearts now becomes a source of intrigue because all the reports we're getting from David Friel, they're just not performing to an agreeable standard at the moment, and we're 26 minutes into the game. They'll need to bring a flamethrower on soon.
Huge update, actually. Huge update for the PFA Scotland dinner. Fraser Wishart's thinking a new velvet jacket this year. Maybe a deep red colour, he says.
Oh dear.
Like it.
Well, hold on a second. deep red is maroon,
purple.
Would we say?
Yeah.
If Hearts win the league, is Fraser going to rock up?
That's what he's thinking.
He's trying to hedge his bets.
He's probably got a green one and a blue one in there as well.
He's a former jam tart, Fraser.
That's true. Very true indeed. Handing the Player of the Year trophy over to Braga or something, maybe. Hearts win the league. He has, incidentally, that man Braga has burst into the box. He fires wide. Hearts are claiming he was fouled as he shot. Is this on the back of last week? Is this his Hearts colleagues trying to gather round and say, if you get fouled in that box,
down.
Going to go down, going to let people know all about it?
Yeah,
that was quite something last week, wasn't it?
No, it was quite incredible. But again, you're right. There's players on the pitch. Cammy Devlin's back involved. I'm pretty sure he'll be in the ear of the referee, knowing the type of player he is. But as you say, is it one of them ones that you feel contact? Make sure you let everyone know. And the possibility VAR looks at absolutely everything. So yeah.
It was a bit strange because if he went down last week, he's getting a penalty kick, isn't he?
Yeah.
They're guaranteed he's getting a penalty kick.
It's such a frustrating one, that all round, because hold that thought actually.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
Big goal at the bottom. Kilmarnock 1, Livingston 0. Would that open up a gap that is just too big for Livy to close? Well, Kilmarnock have certainly struck first in that one down in Ayrshire. We'll find out in just a second who it was that got it, but it's first blood, Kelly.
Yeah, it doesn't matter who scored it. The fact is it's on the board, and Livy in deep trouble. As I say, if they finish today with one win in 31 games, how on earth do you not get relegated?
Marley Watkins ball in. Joe Hugel with the finish. So remember, they have issues in the striking department because Tyrese John Jules had that injury, but Joe Hugel, one of those, trying to fill the gap, and he has opened the scoring after 25 minutes to make it Killie 1, Livingston 0.
I was amazed by what you said earlier, Cammy, about Kilmarnock wanted it more than Hearts last Saturday.
Yeah.
Amazing.
It was quite incredible. I think it was very evident throughout the whole game, though. Again, full credit to Kilmarnock last weekend, and they've certainly started brightly today. Hugel's been good. I think he's a handy player. He works really hard at the top end of the pitch. He never allows the defence any time to rest, and I think he does have goals in him as well. So it's an interesting strike partnership with Watkins up beside him, because it was more Kilty in that advanced role last week. Looks, I think they're possibly playing a 4 in midfield with Kilty and Finlay Curtis in the wide areas, and then the 2 up top. So yeah, it's a brilliant start for Killie.
Has Marvin got the job permanently or just to the end of the season?
No, I think it was a permanent appointment.
Was it?
Yeah.
Why are you saying it like that?
No, I'm just looking forward to working with him again on a Tuesday.
Well, they were bottom anyway, weren't they? So
yeah,
if they stay bottom, I mean, he would deserve the chance to try it in the Championship.
Yeah, you would think so. Do you know, change your manager to try and get a wee lift?
You've been Brian Graham, have you?
You're bottom anyway. Do you know what I mean? So, like, if you couldn't then hold that against.
No, I'm not holding
the guy that comes in.
I'm just saying.
There has been a reaction, would you not say? I think Livingston looked far harder to beat, certainly within previous weeks.
Well, there's no doubt they do. I think you'd be lying if you said otherwise. Cammy Devlin goes down injured. But he's up and he's limped on, and the crowd roars, seeing him back on his feet, but still no goals there. Hearts 0, Dundee 0. It's a pretty even game at Falkirk. St Mirren clearly encouraged by their equaliser, and Killie have got their tails up after that opener. Finlay Curtis curls one wide, and what a week for him, Hugh Keevins.
Yeah. I like a young man who has belief in himself to the extent that he says, I know it's Rangers, I know that it's the club that I have grown up supporting, but I need to be out of here for the time being. I need to play football rather than 5 minutes here and there. So I commend him for taking charge of his own development.
It was certainly a big week for him. He's obviously impressed Steve Clarke last week against Hearts. I was a bit surprised with that one.
Were you?
Yeah, I was. I was a bit surprised Rangers let him go.
Yes, so was
I think Kasama has offered absolutely nothing, so I'd have kept him and played him in front of him. But a Scotland call-up, I wasn't seeing that, but he gives them the width.
Yeah.
Is that not the key though? Because in a sense, what are the limitations on calling up a wide player for Scotland? The competition is so non-existent. I'm not trying to take anything away from Finlay Curtis,
only got Ben Doak, really,
and who's not in the squad. So if you need a winger, Finlay Curtis is as likely as Andy. I saw someone on the show the other night saying maybe Calvin Miller was deserving of a shout, but that's the sort of level you're looking at.
100%. And again, Finlay Curtis is a young man, so why wouldn't you bring him into the squad for experience? Just to, again, he's been excellent every time he's played this season, whether that be with Rangers at the start of the season, earlier on when he wasn't getting a huge amount of game times. I always think, I look at him, he's got something exciting about him. He's very
Has he
direct.
had a better season than Calvin Miller?
I think recently he's been very good for Kilmarnock. I think Calvin Mills played a lot more games.
Yeah, consistently.
Yes, consistently. So yes, why not? Another one I know he's not playing in Scotland.
But again, see also on that, because let's be honest, Ben Doak's coming back into that squad, right? And maybe replacing whoever it is. So let's say you're Steve Clarke and there's not much between them. So you've got Calvin Miller, Finlay Curtis. Do you lean to the 19-year-old over the 28-year-old? If it's something that you're thinking about for the future anyway.
Well, yeah, but listen, only Steve, obviously he has. Steve Clarke has decided to go down that road. That's why I still think if you're looking at that situation with Finlay Curtis just now as well, that's why I'd have made room for Barney Stewart for the same experience and get him in and start developing the younger players for
you're right, the development, because you look at, you're right in what you're saying, because another one that came to my mind was, and I know he's not here, is Danny Armstrong. I know he's over in Romania playing. I think he's been doing very, very well over there, scoring goals, assists. But yeah, it's probably the age thing. I think that's why Finlay Curtis is in, to get him experience within the squad. He's got a bright future ahead of himself, and pretty sure Steve Clarke sees him part of the plans at some point.
Neil Lennon's team are back in the game. Callum Morrison scored. Ross County 2, Dunfermline 1.
Well, the Ross County, an amazing story in their own right, bottom of the league with their squad, the money that's been put out by Roy McGregor, the changes of management, and they're still bottom of the league. So I wouldn't rule out Dunfermline going all the way here and winning 3-2.
Get your teaser out, Hugh, if you can.
Tell me the last 4 Scottish goalkeepers to play for Celtic, and then tell me the last 4 Scottish goalkeepers to play for Rangers.
Some good guesses coming in on this. A great balance of people getting pretty close. Some wild shouts in there as well, which is always good to see what we can attract. A few people are missing one key Celtic one, and it is a sneaky one. It's a hard one. So the Rab Douglas is not in there. We said that earlier on. Murphy wants to suggest Ross Doohan.
I don't think Ross got a first team game at Celtic. He was there but didn't get a first team game.
No Celtic appearance for the first team. What else have we got to try and help you along the way here. I can see people getting very, very close, maybe missing one or two. And what else? That looks like a good set of answers there. Again, fantasy sports, a few falling for the Ross Doohan one. Quite a lot actually falling for the Ross Doohan one, I must say. Again, there's Martin throwing Cammy Bell in, but not going as far back as that, are we?
Cammy threw a few on himself.
I've certainly done that, I'll admit that myself.
There's Angus has sent a message going for Ross Doohan. Everybody's falling for Ross Doohan. Yes, been at Celtic. Is currently at Celtic, isn't he? But no, and Connor Hazard, Angus is not Scottish, so that would be a problem.
Northern Irish, I think.
That would rule him out the list.
We see the cup final goalkeeper, the COVID season, beat Hearts in the final.
Yeah.
He was hopeless.
Where
and
is he
then
now?
saved 2 penalties.
Where is he now?
He's down south somewhere.
Is he?
Yeah.
He was the hero of the hour.
Yeah, remember he saved the penalty kicks?
Yeah.
Plymouth, isn't he? Did he not play?
Plymouth?
Played one of
Yeah,
those
you're right.
high-profile cup games on telly, didn't he? Was
He
it
did.
Liverpool or something last season? Robbie Muirhead's had a free kick for Livy against his former team Killie to try and get them back in, but high and wide. So no such joy there, as Marvin looks to get Livy back on level terms before the break. We've mentioned that Elijah just thought he'd put Motherwell in front, ruled out for offside, and that was actually one of the only real shots that we've had at Fir Park. So will we get a busier end to the first half? Maybe 10 minutes or so, I would say. Big goal at the top of League 2. East Kilbride 1, Stirling Albion 1, Connor Young.
If,
1-0. 1-0.
What did I say? 1 each, did I?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Glad you're here. East Kilbride 1, Stirling Albion 0.
If Kilmarnock's scoreline turns into the result, they're only 3 points behind Aberdeen as the Aberdeen bus heads towards Govan.
Point you make.
Stephen Robinson, he didn't take on a bed of roses there.
Kabori is frustrating the fans, and with every passing moan,
they'll be wanting
I
Shankland.
wonder if we get closer to Shankland on
half time, maybe, no? Or would they give it that?
60?
Yeah.
Look to the 60 minutes.
Because I've felt for him a bit at times. We said, Cammy Devlin gets injured. It's a big blow, but Mark Leonard came in.
Yeah.
Signed, and
he's been excellent.
Played
He's a good
well.
player.
He's excellent. Kabori is not Lawrence Shankland.
No.
In any which way. Even stylistically, right? Even if you thought Kabori was excellent, and I'm not sure the Hearts fans do, he's a bit raw and whatever else. But even stylistically, very hard to replace Lawrence Shankland, isn't it? And I think he's found that at times, because he's not even played all the games, has he? Derek McInnes has put him in, he's tried other solutions. He's got Jordi Altena, who's a right back traditionally. He's playing as a winger today. That's not working either, says David Friel.
Yeah, no, again, it's always difficult when you're trying to replace your top player. Lawrence Shankland, it's really difficult. You're not going to replace him, but you're looking for somebody to step in that short term. Bragas took a lot of that weight on his shoulders, scored goals at important times, but you're right, listen, it's they'll be delighted to get Lawrence Shankland back on the pitch. I think the 60-minute mark, if it's still 0-0, that'll be when he comes on.
Half time?
I think he'll do a really intense warm-up at half-time, preparing him to come on, because possibly, listen, if Derek McInnes feels that he needs to press the button, then he might just do that.
When the ball hits the net, and there's plenty time yet, that's Kabori.
Dear me. He's been working away at that for the last 5 minutes.
You're going to go for a Shankland one there. Oh, love it. Love it.
Let's see what happens there. Is it Kabori who stays on for a bit? Do we get Lawrence Shankland at some stage?
You'll get him at some stage.
You can tell we're getting impatient. 38 minutes on the clock.
Yeah.
We're falling into Hugh Keevins' trap here.
The fans will start to get a little bit edgy as well. Again, after last week, that's fresh in their mind that it was really poor last week. Yes, it was away from home, but big expectations. They would have probably expected them to start really fast, have loads of pressure, scored a goal by now, and it's not happened that way.
I think that is what makes it different, isn't it? It's not to say that last week is like okay, but I think most reasonable Hearts fans would take it in the chin and think, like, they're not going to win every week. These things can happen. It can certainly happen away at Kilmarnock, but today is different for them.
Well, you've got to react. That's the big thing. I think you can accept them individual games when they happen and you move on, but the next game's even more important. There's so many eyes on this game today. You're at home, you're expected to win. If Hearts don't take full points today, then a lot of people will be saying the pressure's getting to Hearts. There's no getting away from that.
Why? How would you avoid people saying that? They've lost 3 of their last 6. Back-to-back failure would just encourage it. Not just me, other people.
But then you look at, I know they dominated the Aberdeen game at home, but they only win it 1-0. They only win the Falkirk game 1-0 at home, so they've not been blowing teams away. So for me,
just a 1-0 a day.
Absolutely, that's what I'm saying. At this moment in time, I wouldn't panic if you're a Hearts fan, because they've seen it all before, and very recently, that they get over the line, they get the job done, and as I said before, it's all about getting 3 points today.
Said this as well, though. I think the narrative is stacked against Hearts in that regard. See, when Celtic lose at Hibs, people just say it's because they're rotten. Pressure does not get mentioned. But because Hearts, they're the leaders for a long time, they're the underdogs, so as soon as anything goes wrong, it has to be pressure. You know, which I don't know how accurate that is.
You've said narrative twice in this programme now. I'm going to phone your mother.
The point remains, though, whether you like that word or not, Hearts are just... They're the magnet for the pressure accusation.
Yeah, but they've not been in that territory for a long time, where they have got the opportunity to win the league. So that would be the only thing you've got to go towards.
I'm not totally against it. I get the notion, but to repeat it, Celtic go and lose at Dundee United tomorrow, nobody will put it down to pressure.
No.
Hearts lose today, then what do we turn around and say? They're rotten because they lost last week and lost this week. Dip in form. Okay.
If Celtic did lose at Tannadice, would somebody say, if only we had Schmeichel?
There was already a bit of a spotlight on Sinisalo's performances. That might just shine a bit brighter now in light of this week's news. But he's done well, hasn't he?
Yeah, done well. He's waited patiently for his chance, and he has taken it. And whatever happens at Tannadice tomorrow, it's not down to Sinisalo.
I think he's when you watch him and you look at him, he looks a very confident character. He's very assured in what he does. He breeds confidence through that defence as well. He's good at his decision making, comes for crosses, so he's been excellent so far.
Hearts have got a free kick 20 yards out. Mark Leonard went down. Dundee are not happy, but Hearts would be looking to take advantage. They've not created loads, so why not bang in a free kick from 20 yards? And that would lift the roof off the place heading into the interval, because we are only a couple of minutes away.
Great time to score just before half time.
I hope Kabori scores so I can do that again.
He'll not be taking the free kick, let me tell you right now.
No, but he'll get the rebound.
He is not a free kick taker. Kizaridis is over it. He's maybe gone a bit quiet as well. Would that be fair?
Yeah, he's a little
quick start
bit
to
of
the
dip,
season.
A little bit of dipping for him, but
this was interesting about the Player of the Year debate, because there was a time when there'd be a good few Hearts players in there, but I wonder if not that they've just maybe gone quiet. Shankland at the start, Devlin at the start.
Devlin definitely for me, yeah.
But they can't because they've been out for too long. So then you would look at Kizaridis and Braga. I think, has Braga been better recently than Kizaridis has?
I think I'd be very surprised if Braga's not in the top four.
Yeah.
And I will be venting my anger at Fraser if that is the case.
Here he comes, Kizaridis, and it's blocked, and on we go. It was awful, and we're probably heading goalless into the break. With that in mind, Hugh, I think we could
round it up.
Yeah, let's clear some room for some late drama in the first half.
The first half teaser with Archiplan Glasgow. Planning permission and building warrants drawings for home extension, conversion or renovation.
The last four Scottish goalkeepers to play for Celtic were Scott Bain, Craig Gordon, David Marshall, and then there was the tricky one.
Who was it?
Mark Brown. Remember Mark Brown?
Who of course played for both.
Yeah.
I see him every day at school.
And busy school that.
Do you?
And the last four Scottish goalkeepers to play for Rangers: Liam Kelly, Alan McGregor, John McLaughlin, and Robbie McCrory.
Loads of you got it right. Even more of you obviously came close, and some of you were hopeless. But that's the beauty of the first half teaser. So well done to the following who make it onto the podium. In third place, the third quickest was Miovski Prop. Second place was Gary Craig, and the winner was Rangers Shirt over there on Twitter or X or whatever you call it. Well done to Rangers Shirt, the winner of the first half teaser, and we will have a Who Am I in the second halves. For now though, we clear the way for any significant goals. We always talk about this being a good time to score, no matter who you are, which team can find it. 1 minute added for Dave Galloway. He's seen the most so far. It's Falkirk 1, St Mirren 1. Remember that man Barney Stewart opening the scoring, Miguel Freckleton equalising. The only goals there so far. 2 minutes of stoppage time for Fraser Wishart. Elijah just thought he'd opened the scoring for Motherwell. It was ruled out due to Oscar Priestman being offside in the build-up, so goalless there. 2 minutes added, and Kilmarnock do have the lead against Livingston thanks to Joe Hugel, and we're nearly at the end of that one as well. Looking forward to hearing the half-time picture. The board about to go up at Tynecastle as well, I think. Still in the 44th minute there, so we'll find out how much longer to go.
It just adds to the tension. You know, it gives us a terrific second half to look forward to in Lanarkshire, in the capital city. Can Big Marv get a fifth draw in succession? He's one down at the moment. And Falkirk St Mirren, well, St Mirren are fighting for their Premiership lives here, and they're doing not a bad job of it.
The half-time whistle, I think, has gone. One of them, are we? Yeah, Dave Galloway's game, I think, we're there. Dave Galloway, take it away.
Yeah, half-time, it's Falkirk 1, St Mirren 1. The hosts first to threaten, but Spencer lashed wildly over, with Phillips shooting well wide for the visitors. Falkirk took the lead after 15 minutes with an absolute gift. Freckleton with a badly misplaced pass. Tate was onto it in a flash, and he set up Stewart to sweep calmly and coolly low into the net. But just 3 minutes later, Freckleton made up for his mistake by heading in the equaliser from a few yards out, rising to convert Tanzer's corner, taking advantage of poor marking. Saints clearly took encouragement from that, but Stewart's cutback for the Bairns, close to goal, found absolutely no takers, to the frustration of the vast majority of the crowd here. Brosio made a really good run down the left and hit a very fine cross to the back post, but Stewart's header, it came back off the woodwork. At the other end, Young's shot forced a decent save from Bain, but Falkirk closing this first half on top, forcing a corner kick which came to nothing. It's advantage Falkirk in terms of pressure and possession, I would say, but at the interval it's all square. Falkirk 1, St Mirren 1.
Speaking of all square, what about Motherwell and Hibs? Fraser Wishart.
Yeah, there's hardly been any sign of a goal here. Gordon, Motherwell 0, Hibernian 0. Not a classic, nothing of note to report at all, other than Elijah just got a goal, hit the ball into the back of the net, but it was disallowed by VAR for offside, and the game's yet to live up to those pre-match expectations. Although you expect most of the ball, not created one decent chance, so Hibs be happy. Change to back four's worked, although they haven't threatened Callum Ward's goal. Early stages as expected. More of the ball for Motherwell in the early stages, but they couldn't get a chance, couldn't create that possession into a chance. Hibs back four happy to allow Motherwell to play in front of them and hit on the break. The first couple of minutes they did have an effort on goal. Hibs, Jamie McGrath at the corner into the 6 yard box. Hora got his head to the ball under pressure and the ball went over the bar, and that was Hibs' only effort at goal. Mickey Cannon had a low cross just behind Soto and Boyle, and it was cleared. Then Motherwell had the ball in the net in 24 minutes. Oscar Priestman burst into the box. He should have shot, I thought, but he took an extra touch. He was tackled and the ball bounced nicely. A loose ball for Elijah Just, who got his right foot over the ball and tucked it past the goalkeeper across the goal into the far corner of the net, but it was disallowed by VAR. Ref Andrew Dallas. Oscar Priestman, I think, was the man who was offside in the build-up. But after that, it was just a frustrating time for Motherwell. Hibs comfortable at the back, game a bit scrappy. Watt with a tame shot outside of his right foot from 20 yards straight at the goalkeeper. It's rolled into the goalkeeper's arms in 34 minutes, and that was the only shot on target for either side. But with half time approaching, Hibs came into the game a wee bit more. They became a bit agitated, the Motherwell fans team, get a bit slack in the ball. Nicky Cadden had crossed from really deep. He mishit it and it caused Ward problems. He was worried it was going to drop in at the back post, and the goalie at full stretch palmed at the ball away. But the stats do tell the story of this game. 2 shots, one for each team. That was at Watt, 1 on target. O'Hora's early one with a head off target. So it's desperately needing a goal this game. It's been a really poor first half, a bit tousy and really scrappy, both teams on the ball. Half time at Fir Park, Motherwell 0, Hibernian 0.
There was a big chance for Hearts and they could not take it. It was Kabori, that man, he was through. We'll let David Field tell us all the details, but they've passed up a really good chance, and now there's a free kick to Dundee, the last action of the first half, you would imagine. Congreve is over it. We know what he's capable of. Cameron Congreve having a brilliant season for Dundee. We've not given you the half-time story from Kilmarnock yet. They had that minute's applause pre-match, which has probably pushed things back a bit. Let's see what Dundee can come up with. This Cameron Congreve free kick will almost certainly bring the first half to a close, and it would be an absolute gut punch to Hearts and their title hopes if this was to end up in the back of the net before the interval. But they're certainly making us wait. There'll be a bit of tension in the air at Tynecastle, hoping that either this misses the target. It's actually Ryan Wesley, and it is saved. And there we go, half time, David Friel.
Yeah, half time, just drama at the end there. Dundee with that free kick. It's still 0-0, Gordon, but Dundee with that free kick just at the edge of the box. Tony Ugan brought down by Frankie Kent. It looked like Cam Conley was going to take it, but they actually worked it to Joe Wesley. Great shot, really powerful, saved out by Alexander Swallow. Could be a big save. It's not really going to plan for Hearts at all as things stands. I wouldn't say it's been an awful performance with a lot of the ball, plenty of drive. They just haven't really caught fire. Derek McKinnon said he hoped they would do that. But I think the Hearts fans are more entitled to be expecting a lot more from the team, even with the injury problems they've got. They've really struggled to take any kind of chances. Yet to one on target. Landry Kabori did mess up the big one that they had. Dundee haven't been a huge threat, but Hearts need to be so much better. Just lack that killer instinct. Clodo Braga's been pretty bright. Kabori's really struggling. You do wonder how long it's going to be before Lawrence Shankland comes on. Whatever Derek McInnes decides to do at the break, it's clear they need to produce more in this second half if they are to avoid dropping points again. As I said, Dundee have been fine. They've always been in the game. They try to play out from the back. They've competed well. Congreve had the first chance, firing a shot wide midway through the first half. Braga, 27 minutes on, he then played a 1-2, burst into the box, but he dragged a low shot wide. Claimed for a foul as he let fly, but referee Don Robertson wasn't having it, told him to get up. Kabori headed wide. John McCracken did have that one well covered. Alexandros Kizarides sent a poor free kick blocked, and came that big chance I was talking about. Flick on, Landry Kabori clean through. John McCracken came off his line. He was in no man's land. All Kabori had to do really was lift it over him and into the net, but his lob was wayward and a golden opportunity was passed up. So we'll see what happens with Lawrence Shankland at the break, if he's going to come on. But Hearts definitely need some inspiration in the second half. Half time, Hearts 0, Dundee 0.
Also half time between Kilmarnock and Livingston. Alison McConnell's there.
Yeah, 1-0 to Kilmarnock here at Rugby Park at half time. Joe Hugo's goal is the difference here in Ayrshire, and if it were to stay the same here and between Falkirk and St Mirren, it would be the afternoon that Kilmarnock have craved, as it would lift them above St Mirren in the table. But yeah, Hugo's goal is separates the teams just now. Marley Watkins deserves a fair bit of credit after he delivered a cross from the right, with Hugo just stretching to connect with his left foot and put the ball into the net. Kilmarnock then had a brief spell after that goal where they flirted with really turning the screw. Finlay Curtis curled an effort just wide, while Livingston goalkeeper Jerome Pryor then had to deny the youngster after he got onto the end of Jamie Brandon's cross, which had also come in from the right. Prior to the opener, which had come just midway through the opening period, Curtis had delivered a few inviting crosses for Kilmarnock forwards with no real takers, while Brooklyn Cabangolo had Livingston's best effort with a header that was well over. With ample time and space, he might have done a bit better. Hugo, at the early stages of the game, had a chance to open the scoring after he'd originally miscued a volley and then stabbed his effort wide when he got a second bite of the cherry. Kilmarnock have probably had the better of the chances, but up until the goal there were very few clear-cut opportunities at that stage of the game, although Kilmarnock's front three have caused a few problems for Livingston. It has to be said though that there is still a bit of fight in this Livingston side. David Martindale is in the stand this afternoon for this one, and this isn't a team who have thrown in the towel. Despite what they are looking at, if it stays the same, they'll be 12 points adrift at the bottom of the table. But as the opening period came to a close, Cammy Kerr was wide with an effort before Robbie Muirhead sent a free kick whistling just over the bar, right on the cusp of the half-time whistle. So Kilmarnock, you would have to say, they look the most likely to add to the scoring here, but this is a Livingston team who are still in it and still fighting. Half-time here at Rugby Park, and it is Kilmarnock 1, Livingston 0.
And we will do a full roundup of the half-time scores next.
Football's league leader. This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
Half-time scores, starting with the Scottish Premiership to kick things off. It's Falkirk 1, St Mirren 1, Hearts 0, Dundee 0, Kilmarnock 1, Livingston 0, Motherwell 0, Hibs 0. In the Championship, Arbroath 1, Queen's Park 0, Ayr United 0, Morton 1, Raith Rovers 0, Airdrie 0, and Ross County 2, Dunfermline 1. In League 1, Alloa 1, Inverness Cally Thistle 0, Cove Rangers 0, Hamilton Accies 2, Peterhead 0, Montrose 1, Queen of the South 2, East Fife 1, and Stenhousemuir 1, Kelty Hearts 0. Into League 2, Clyde 0, Stranraer 0, Dumbarton 0, Annan 0, East Kilbride 2, Stirling Albion 0, Edinburgh City 0, Elgin City 2, and Forfar 1, the Spartans 1. Let's finish with the English Premier League if you are into that sort of thing. A full-time score, Brighton 2, Liverpool 1, and only one half-time, Fulham 0, Burnley 0. The guys are getting tucked in, they're refuelling, thanks to Pie Sports for providing the pies for the guys ahead of the second half in here, and we will get said second halves underway next.
The fastest goals, the experts' opinions. This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
Second half's about to get underway. Still no sign of the teams out at Tynecastle, so let's go back there and try and gauge the mood, David Friel, because it's a big old day for the Jambos and it is goalless so far.
Yeah, it's goalless, Gordon. As I said, it's not going to plan. The mood, it's okay just now. I don't think the crowd have turned at all. To be fair to them, I think they've been quite good in the second half. They've stayed with their team, but I think, like me, most of them have been watching Lawrence Shankland at half time. He's still out warming up just now. Put it this way, he's not out just doing keepy-uppies. I think he has given himself the most rigorous warm-up he possibly can. I don't think he'll be coming on straight away. I could be wrong, but he doesn't seem ready to come on. But he's certainly getting warmed up, and I just wonder how long it can be before Derek McInnes brings him on. I would say the same for Chesnikov. I just think the Altena experiment up in the right wing just hasn't really worked. I look at Chesnikov and guys like that, even Rogers Mato, can give Hearts that killer instinct up front. Hearts team's just coming back out just now. As I say, the crowd are still with them. They're going to be patient. They know it could take a big effort in this second half. Hearts would take a 1-0 one straight away. Lawrence Shankland just walking back to the bench just now. I don't think it'll be too long before we see him, but Derek McInnes not pressing the panic button just yet.
Clyde One Super Scoreboard Goal Flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy. Get set for the season with expert pharmacy support.
And just like that, we are back underway. Restarted already at Fir Park. No changes there. David Friel telling us Lawrence Shankland, we'll probably see him at some point, but not yet. And we have a massive 45 minutes ahead everywhere.
My pre-match prediction was Shankland to come off the bench and score the winner. So you can play that back when it happens.
Well, there's every opportunity, because I think that they'll probably look at 10-15 minutes. If he's going through that warm-up, they'll not wait any longer than that. They'll get him on, and it gives everybody inside Tynecastle a massive lift.
Yeah, it does. And again, I said it before half time, I felt as if Lawrence Shankland would be working really hard during that 15-minute period to try and get himself up to speed. I think he'll be warming up between now and the time he goes on. And you're right, Daz, that it's that lift that as soon as he enters the pitch, the whole atmosphere changes.
Some pressure, that, isn't it? Expected to go on and score a hat-trick, Hugh.
Well, yeah,
just come on.
But,
one will do. One would do.
You know, football fate is a funny thing. Stephen Pressley, magnificent player for Hearts, one of the Rickerton three. Do you remember the Rickerton three?
Yeah.
And here he is now standing in the way of Hearts in terms of the title race. So fascinating there. I'm equally fascinated by Motherwell Hibs, because I said pre-match, the one for the football purists, and according to Fraser, it's pretty rubbish.
Half chance there, Maswernisi. Stephen O'Donnell's cut back. The top scorer in the league has a low shot saved by Raphael Salinger. I think what you are going to find, though, Cammy, that there's a respect element to this, is teams have to now sort of really think specifically how to stop Motherwell before thinking about what they're going to do themselves. You know, kind of what we used to see with the so-called big teams. Even when Hearts went to Fir Park early in the season, the league leaders went, and that was what they had to do. So what you'll find is the better the teams are at doing that, because Hibs are good. Hibs have got a physicality, they've got good players. It's going to be harder for Motherwell to break them down.
The approach changes for teams that go to Motherwell now, and rightly so, because they've demanded that respect. They've been so good for long periods, and that's what happens when you're a top team. The opposition has to come and think, firstly, how do we stop them playing, how do we break up their play, and then we can allow our good players to go on and affect the game. So yeah, it sounds as if Hibs have done that well. David Gray's set his team out to make sure that Motherwell can't get in that free-flowing football they want to play, and he'll be looking for that sucker punch in the second half.
And I did think about the team that finishes the game as well as the one that starts when I saw it, Gordon, that the fact that Ibrahim Said, who's gone from start, he starts the vast majority of games, he's on the bench. that feels like an obvious one to come on. A bit of a kind of game changer, if you like. You know, someone with that little bit of X factor if you are struggling to break things down.
And everything. Yeah, they'll be. Listen, like every other manager, they'll wait to see if their half-time team talk has been positive or not, and then obviously you start looking at your bench as it goes into the 60-65 minutes as usual. But he's certainly one that can come on and get you a goal or create something for you.
And then we have Livy, bottom, 1 win in 31.
When was it?
August 9.
There you go.
Goal down to Kelly. Kelly, I repeat, if Kelly win, if that finishes up as the scoreline, they're 3 points behind Aberdeen, as Aberdeen prepare to play Rangers this evening at Ibrox. Aberdeen are sleepwalking into a relegation fight.
There's no getting away for it, Hugh. They are in a relegation fight. I see them, their form. There's nothing that tells me that they're not. When you look at Kilmarnock, the result last week, the opportunity that's presented to them today is another chance at home to get another 3 points. And you're right, they're right on the tail of Aberdeen, and Aberdeen can really quickly get sucked into this. Again, when the bottom six happens, do they have the players at their disposal for a relegation fight? And that'll be interesting to see.
They've got no identity. You know, I know it can't always be Miller, McLeish, Jim Layton, etc., etc., but there's no identity about Aberdeen anymore. You know, there's no focal point. Graham Shinney, perhaps, but he's in the twilight of his career. They're another club that needs a massive overhaul.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. You're just looking there, if you're probably the championship team just now, who would you be looking at? Would you prefer St Mirren or Aberdeen? Because I think Kilmarnock would have enough to get out.
Oh yeah.
But I look at St Mirren, I look at Aberdeen, I think they could struggle against a championship playoff.
I think Aberdeen could, because again, the pressure that would be on Aberdeen would just be incredible.
Reminds you a bit of when Hibs were down there, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And everyone keeps saying, they'll never go down. They're too good to go down. No, they're not.
No. I genuinely look at them and I don't think they're too good to go down. I think they'll struggle tonight. I think Rangers will get 3 points, but it's worrying times for Stephen Robinson. He'll have to get a reaction out of them pretty quickly.
Well, the way the season's going, you win the cup and get relegated in the same season. That's brilliant.
Well, let's check in, see if we've got any goals yet. There's one in League 2, Clyde 1, Stranraer 0. A really good run there by Broggio. Miller's shot is deflected behind, and there's a huge standing ovation as Lawrence Shankland is sent out to warm up again.
He'll be knackered by the time he gets on.
Shall we do the
teaser?
Yeah.
I'm just making some edits to it for you.
Oh, right.
I wanted to mix it up a little bit.
When you were a sub, how long did you warm up for?
Oh, behave. What a question.
A sub, mate.
Never a sub?
No.
Not once?
Only if I was...
Did you warm up though?
No, I didn't.
Just straight on?
Do you know I never warmed up when I started a game?
What?
No, I would go out, I would have a cup of tea, I wouldn't kick a ball. Right?
A cup of tea.
I would go out with a cup of tea, I would have a couple of chats with my fellow colleagues.
Yep.
And I always thought it was unlucky to kick the ball before.
You never kicked the ball?
No.
Wow. That's what you could get away with that in the bygone era.
Yeah. But to be fair, I scored 200 odd goals. It certainly worked for me. I kicked it when the referee blew the whistle, let me tell you. And it was usually in the back of net.
Derek McInnes is prowling the touchline, as you can imagine.
Well, Stirling Albion back in the game against the Kirby.
Yeah. Stirling Albion, yes, he scored 2. Stirling Albion 1. That might make things a bit nervy at the top of League 2.
Derek McInnes has spoken so much about so many topics. He really has to win this league.
Yeah. Listen, everyone keeps saying that. Yes, Hearts are there's no getting away from it. They're in a brilliant position, and yes, if you'd offered them that months and months ago, they would absolutely take. I think if Hearts don't win the league, they'll be hugely disappointed because they've came this far. Will they get this opportunity again? I very much doubt it.
It's a difficult one, that, isn't it? Because, and I'm sure we'll talk about this when the season finishes, the notion behind that is clearly that Celtic and Rangers won't be as bad as this again.
Yeah.
Right? But in theory, if you're talking about Hearts specifically, this is season 1 of this project.
Yes.
You know, it was
I
never,
get that.
It was never meant that you come in and you do all this overnight. This is meant to get better and better. So, you know, What if it's second this season? It might even be third next season. What if they keep staying there and then, they kind of chip away at it? Is that not what this project's designed to do?
But I think we're so deep into the season. There has been so much talk about Hearts.
They'll be hugely disappointed. I get that, but what I mean is,
I think it was the same as 40 years ago for the Hearts fans.
It doesn't mean to say that, next season we'll be 8th.
No. Listen, Hearts aren't going to go away. They're going to be a top side in Scottish football in the next 5-10 years. Of course they are. I fully believe that as well. But can they win the league is a question. I think this is the season to do it.
Well, he might be coming on. I think he's been called back, which is only 7 minutes into the second half. We'll see if he does come on. Before we get to there, Hugh, let's do this.
Second half teaser with Archiplan Glasgow. Planning permission and building warrants drawings for home extension, conversion or renovation.
I have played alongside James McFadden and Effie Ambrose. I've been managed by Jackie McNamara and Neil Lennon. And I've been a manager myself. I've won the Scottish League Cup and have never been sold for a transfer fee in spite of playing for 10 different clubs. So played alongside Faddy and Effie Ambrose, managed by Jackie McNamara and Neil Lennon. I was a manager myself, and I've won the Scottish League Cup and have never been sold for a transfer fee in spite of playing for 10 different clubs. Who am I?
I like it. I like your work this afternoon, Hugh Keevins at Clyde SSB. The race is on. Let's go. Who am I is the question. You need to provide the answers. Let's see how we get on with that one. Gordon Dalziel, you look even more... You've got a generally confused look on your face, but even more so here.
Yeah, I'm trying to take all the information in. Never been... I'm trying to think of somebody 10 clubs.
I have to admit, the thing about the transfer fee is the least significant of those clues, surely.
Is it?
Well, I just mean, how are you going to know who has or hasn't
10 clubs
necessarily been sold for a transfer
10
fee?
clubs.
And how do you move 10 times and there's never been any money?
I would guess exactly.
Yeah.
Well, loads of people in Scotland we don't play big fees.
Nobody ever paid money for you?
No, just always at the end of your contract.
And then how many clubs have you played for?
I genuinely don't know. Roughly over 10, I would think. Yeah.
And it's not Cammy Bell, by the way.
Yeah. Because you run your contract down. If there's something better on offer, you move on.
It shows you when that good.
And here he comes.
Right
is this a big moment in the season and the title race? Lawrence Shanklin comes on. He is handed the armband. He has not played for Hearts since the 17th of January. He had scored 15 goals up until that point, so that tells you how important he was and is. And the Scotland striker is back for the Jambos. You can just imagine the mood at Tynecastle. Kabore and Altena off. Shanklin and Spittle come on.
Well, I've thought all day long, it's written that Shanklin will come off the bench and score the winning goal, and I'm just waiting for you to press the button that says there's been a goal at Tynecastle.
He's only just walking on the pitch. You'll need to wait.
Give him a minute.
But the Hearts fans,
needs a warm up.
The Hearts fans will be absolutely delighted, Cammy Bell, because whatever happens this season, if we're going to throw a really obvious statement out there, their chances of winning the league are higher with that man in the team.
Yeah. And it sounds as if it's been the game. This is what it's been crying out for, is a lift. The whole place getting a huge lift. Lawrence Shanklin, we speak about him in Hearts, how they went hand in hand for so long and so many goals together. He's a big player for them. He's the captain. So yeah, I feel as if today this is maybe just what... I'm not going to say he's the one that's going to score. Potentially is, but I think the lift that's needed today is huge, and the running, there's no getting away from it. As you say, he's so important for Hearts, whether they manage to get this title or not.
Bit of Dundee pressure as well at Tynecastle, so they're having to withstand that and then hope that they can go and attack in their own rights. They're not too happy with Don Robertson over some 50-50 calls either, but that's just a symptom of the tension, isn't it?
Which club is happy with any referee?
Anywhere in the world.
Yeah.
Had this really sort of interesting moment last night where, the VAR review came out and lots of people talking again about referees and decisions and Willie Collum and so on. And, it felt like your social media was absolutely awash with that as I was scrolling through. So I then saw this tweet and it said, "There's absolutely no conspiracy against or for any team, And to believe that's ludicrous. But what cannot be denied is we're going through the worst ever run of ref and VAR errors. It's never been this bad. And this tweet had thousands of likes, hundreds of retweets, loads of comments. And I thought, I don't recognise that person that's tweeted it. And I clicked on, and it was a tweet about England. You know? And I thought, everybody's just doing the same. Whether that's a modern society thing, whether it's a modern football thing. This was actually a tweet about the Man United, or spurred on by the Man United game, and apparently referring to the worst ever run of VAR errors. But it was about the English Premier League, and like, we just use the exact same language, and it's all very interchangeable. But anyway, that's how I spend my Friday nights, you see.
It's hard for football fans who are so heavily committed to their team. Scotland in particular believes that, or I should say the west of Scotland in particular believes that there's corruption on the go, and you'll never rid them of that belief, so you'd have to grin and bear it.
Even at that tweet was going against that notion and was just saying that whatever it is, this is like the worst run ever. But it was talking about England. We're saying the same things about ourselves, and just I don't know if it ever ends anymore with the level of scrutiny that we've sort of got on.
And
now.
I think we're at that time of the season as well. You've got to take that into factor, that decisions that you feel as if go against your team, it's bigger than ever, because again it plays a significant part of where your team ends up in the table. So listen, the scrutiny is going to be there between now and the end of the season. Hopefully we're not speaking about refereeing decisions and VAR decisions that cost people the title or anything like that, or relegation, whatever it is. Hopefully it's the footballing that does the talking.
Dumbarton 2-0 Leighton Macintosh on 63 minutes there in League 2. Cammy, your hometown team, not happening.
Disappointing. They had a couple of good results recently, a couple of wins in a row, but that's a disappointing one away at Dumbarton.
Got to keep the Sons of the Rock in the SPFL.
You're right. It's a big result for them.
Yeah, got to keep them in the SPFL. Even though I spent most of my life in Clydebank, I can't see the Suns going out of the major leagues.
I've taken a quick look at the list of answers on this teaser already. That's when you know it's a good question, because there is a range there of wrong answers. Will we do an early shout? I know you've only just given us the question, but why not? Remind us of the question one more.
I have played alongside James McFadden and Effie Ambrose, managed by Jackie McNamara and Neil Lennon, and was a manager myself, won the Scottish League Cup, and have never been sold for a transfer fee in spite of playing for 10 different clubs.
I can see the thought process here. Stephen Grant has gone for Charlie Mulgrew.
I'm not sure about Charlie playing for 10 different clubs.
But see, other than that, you can see it. McFadden at Scotland, Effie Ambrose won the League Cup, but he's won a lot more than that as well, hasn't he? So it's not Charlie Mulgrew. Henke Scales Moravchik, unclear which team that tweeter supports, goes for Chris Erskine.
Chris Erskine.
Again, so you can see that thought process there. That's an interesting goal indeed.
Ashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
Falkirk 1, St Mirren 2, and it's Liam Donnelly. We said this was the day. Falkirk only needed a point to secure their top 6 status. They might have to wait if this doesn't turn around, because against the odds, Liam Donnelly has put St Mirren in front, and this could turn out to be a really bad day for Livy at the bottom if everything stays this way.
Yeah, of course. But as I say, if you've got one win in 31 games, how can you not get relegated? But it turned out to be a really bad day for Aberdeen.
I was about to say that, Hugh.
Because you've now got, as things stand, you've now got St Mirren and Kilmarnock 3 points away from Aberdeen, the not so dandy Dons, who will travel a long way for nothing at Ibrox tonight, and then travel a long way home to think we're in bother here.
They are in bother, and again it's a massive goal for St Mirren. If they manage to get a result over at Falkirk, that'll be an incredible result for the run that they've been on. And we spoke about how good Falkirk have been this season. There's a long way still in the game to go, but it's a brilliant turnaround from St Mirren.
And you didn't see it coming. The St Mirren Rangers game last Sunday was pretty poor, but for all that Rangers had lots of chances, St Mirren looked really poor. And fair play to Craig McLeish. He's thrown his hat into the ring. the way to do anything is to offer up tangible proof that you can do the job, and that would be a huge result for St Mirren to win there.
Didn't see that coming at all.
Yeah, Varchek, but it does stand in the end, and it's Liam Donnelly with the header.
Huge. I mean, we've praised Falkirk, and correctly, all season long. John McGlynn in particular. So for St Mirren to go there under the circumstances they're suffering, the scoreline is terrific. As a result, it would be even better.
Getting very feisty at Tynecastle, according to David Friel. We've reached that hour mark. He said the crowd were handling it quite well. I wonder at what point that shifts.
70 minutes, the panic sets in. Guaranteed, yeah. 70 minutes, I think they'll be okay up until 70 minutes.
Yeah, double change for Dundee as well, as they look
Simon Murray?
to be no, it is Riley and Cotterill for Yogan and Wesley.
And it'll be interesting if Dundee put Simon Murray on with last 10-15
And
minutes.
he scores
we all know that again. He's got that energy at the top end of the pitch. He's a goal scorer, so it'll be interesting.
Wraith Rovers pull one back against Team Airdrie.
Wraith won, Airdrie won indeed, yep. Innes Cameron, Big Innes has equalised. Their levy should be level though. We spoke about them having a bad combination of results. They should be level. Kabongolo's headed wide from Joel Lubley, easy for me to say. Joel Nubley's cross. Did say earlier on it was almost a guarantee Ibrahim Said would be Motherwell's first change, and indeed he's come on for Oscar Priestman, so maybe going back to a more familiar attacking structure. Jens Bertalasco had gone for more of a 4-3-3, flat midfield 3 today, but Priestman makes way for Ibrahim Said. Little quality on the ball in that game, says Fraser Wishart. Very scrappy, lots of fouls, and goalless ultimately between Motherwell and Hibs.
I'm taking the blame for that.
Yeah. You should.
I did say it was one for the football purists, and
we'll get a goal there.
Yeah.
We'll get a winner.
Yeah, I feel as if
I think we'll get one for Motherwell because they keep clean sheets at Fir Park, so I think they'll be able to do that today against the Hibs side. So we're looking for one chance.
But can they keep getting those clean sheets at Fir Park?
Yeah, of course they can.
Does the law of averages catch up with you?
No.
Okay, good.
No,
just checking.
I think they'll get the winner today against, and there'll be a big crowd there, guaranteed.
How does this work, Des? If a certain Dundee sub comes on, the ball hits the net, and there's plenty of time yet, that's a Murray.
He's just determined to make that chance.
Stick
I'm liking you this afternoon.
Yeah. Have you got anything for Björgolfsson if he comes on for Motherwell?
Not a clue. That's what I've got for him.
Murray. I like it.
Yeah, that's a Murray.
That's a Murray.
Boyle just over with a dipping volley, so it could be Hibs. Fraser Wishart says he's not seen a goal for a while. Was he at a 0-0 last week? Was he?
Who's that, Fraser?
Fraser at a 0-0 last week. He must have been. Ross County 2, Dunfermline 2. Andy Todd, good game there.
I told you, 3-2 Dunfermline. It's coming up.
I think Stuart Kettlewell's head might explode if that happens.
Never mind his. Roy McGregor's head.
Oh, wow.
Mine's will explode.
Yeah, Fraser was at Hibs Livy last week. Remember that goalless?
Oh, so he was.
You know, I'm lacking the detail here, so I have let you down a bit, but it doesn't really matter. It's more the principle. If I was thinking about Fir Park and that being your neck of the woods, I think it was a food page or something. I saw this it was like a TikTok or an Instagram reel the other day, and whatever the account was, the caption was kind of name this town or something, or where am I? But whoever they were and whatever they were doing, they were right outside your flat, like where you live, right? But it was nothing to do with you.
Okay.
Why'd you look so nervous?
Why does he look very nervous?
I'm not nervous. Well,
hold on, I didn't think it was anything to do with you. Now I'm second guessing my story here.
No, continue.
What's going on?
What is going on?
Why does he look so guilty?
No.
He's up to something.
No, anyway, it was genuinely just someone I think it just so happened to be the case, but I thought if only you knew. I was going to reply and go, I'll tell you exactly where that is. That's one of Motherwell's most famous landmarks.
Well, see, if I'd known, I would have done what there was a group of girls, this was years ago, waiting for a bus to come round, pick them up. They were going on a hen night, and they were all dressed up, right?
I'm very worried about this.
Yeah, keep going.
Mate, I get the little bucket, didn't I? Opened the window.
No, you never. Soaking.
That's not funny.
It was for me.
What's wrong with you?
They were meeting. They obviously had.
As in, when you were in your 60s. still.
That was 3 years ago, yeah. they were making.
You've got issues.
They were making a bit of noise, right? And they were very loud, and they had their wee cans of gin and all their cocktails. And I thought, I'm having.
There is that bus stop outside your window.
No, we're waiting for a private bus.
Right.
I thought, I'm having some of that. Window open. Mate, I swear you could have heard them. You could have heard them in Glasgow. They're screaming.
Very alarming, I must say.
A few hairdressers having to open up their salons to sort them out.
Free kick for Mark Leonard of Hibs, but it's saved at Hearts. Sorry, it's tame. Just can't quite get going. The leaders. Bit of a strange incident at Rugby Park. Finlay Curtis has collided with a photographer behind the goal, and the photographer has come off significantly worse.
I would imagine so, yeah.
So there we go. That's about all that's exciting is at the moment. We've got Hugh's teaser up and running. Edinburgh City 0, Elgin 3. Ryan Sargent very convincing there. East Kilbride 3, Stirling Albion 1. So is this? It really does swing back and forward, that League 2 title race. Spartans still drawing at Forfar. So this could be another day that goes back in East Kilbride's favour after they lost the advantage in recent weeks.
Also means that Dumbarton, rather, if they hold on and win, would go 9 points away from Edinburgh City. So the survival fight would be well and truly on.
This has been a fast afternoon. We are just minutes away from team news at Ibrox.
Wow.
I actually had forgotten that would be approaching. So we'll go to Gabriel in the not too distant future and bring you that news there. I don't know if there are any huge surprises that Danny Rule could unleash, but we will find out.
Certainly sounds as if it's been quite flat again at Tynecastle compared to last week. You expected a reaction. It's definitely not been the way that Derek McInnes would have hoped for his side to approach this game. Going onto the pitch, he would have wanted a fast start to take the game to Dundee, and it sounds as if it's not been that.
I went for a draw.
I went for a draw as well.
Did you, mate?
Yeah.
Did you go for a home one, Hugh?
I did. The Shankland will score any minute now.
Listen, he might score, absolutely.
Livy have gone for more of their technical ball players, if you like, to come on and try and make a difference. Barry Mackay and Lewis Smith have come on for Livingston as they look for an equaliser. Kilmarnock 1, Livingston 0.
Yeah, but that's been Marv's gimmick. Draws 4 in a row since he became manager, and it might very well be 5 today.
And yet, if it stays the way it is and Livy do that, it's still a bad day.
Yeah, sure. They need to get pick up.
The one that's intriguing is St Mirren. Terrific scoreline, not yet result, but terrific to go a goal behind and score 2 at Falkirk. That speaks volumes for them and the job that Craig McLeish has started to do.
Go for the teaser again if you can, please.
I have played alongside James McFadden and Effie Ambrose. I have been managed by Jackie McNamara and Neil Lennon. And I was a manager myself. I've won the Scottish League Cup, and I have never been sold for any transfer fee despite playing for 10 different clubs.
Lee Cooper says, is it Stephen Hamill?
No.
Then he replied and said, scrap that. Give me Darren O'Dea.
No.
It's not him either.
No.
Stevie Hamill was like famously pretty much only Motherwell. He had that wee spell down at Southend. But certainly not the 10 clubs for Stevie Hamill. David wants to go Dylan McGeoch.
Well, played for a lot of clubs,
not
but
been a manager.
Not been a man, no.
The blue card says Stephen McManus.
No.
Again, not been a kind of first team manager, if you like. What else have we got? Quite a few shouts for our old pal Mark Wilson.
No.
He's not at the 10 team mark, has he?
No.
Yeah, he has
Still
not.
not proved himself as a manager either.
Oh, cruel. And he embraced you at his wedding.
We did. We embraced together.
Penalty claim, but for Falkirk now. Sorry. Even worse, for Dundee. We're not talking about the drama.
Right, well.
Is it being turned away?
I saw the name Graham and I thought it was Brian, but it was Luke who's tangled with Frankie Kent. So
are they looking?
I'm not sure. There was a volley saved by Blair Spittle initially. We're trying to win the league, shouts a guy behind David Friel, who wants some urgency, clearly. And whilst we wait and see what late drama we have in store in the 3 o'clock games, why don't we turn our attention to the Saturday evening matchup, a 5:45 kick-off between Rangers and Aberdeen. Everybody heading along. We'll be keeping a keen eye to see what Hearts do first, and then it's over to that game at Ibrox. Here's Gabriel with the team news.
Yeah, Gordon, good evening from sunny Ibrox Park. Let's get straight into it. Just one change for Rangers from the team that won in Paisley last weekend. Tello Asgard is in for JD Gassama, who drops to the bench. Andreas Skålsson drops out altogether. So the team is as follows. Jack Butland in goal. A back four of James Tavernier, Nasser Chiga, Manny Fernandez and Tua Romans. Nico Raskan and Tochi Chukwuani will sit in front of the back four again, with Asgard and Mikey Moore behind Ryan Nadiri and Yusuf Chamiti. The substitutes: Kelly Magoma, Suter, Sterling, Gassama, Barron, Antman, Diamande and Miovski. For the visitors, quite a few more changes. Stephen Robinson making 4 to the team that he picked last week for his first game in charge at Pittodrie. Looks like it's still going to be that favoured 3-5-2 formation, but Palaversa, Aremu, Gyamfi and Bilalovic are all in for Armstrong, Shinnie, Frame and Lazatic. The team is as follows. Mitov in goal. A back three of Milne, Morrison and Malloy, with Lobban and Gyamfi as the wing-backs. Palaversa, Aremu and Geiger in midfield. Nisbet and Bilalovic up top. The substitutes: Bratveit, Frame, Shinning, Heltner, Nilsson, Armstrong, Olasanya, Lazic, Jensen and Keskinen.
And everybody, Hugh, going to Ibrox will know that if this stays the way it is at Tynecastle, Rangers have the chance to go within just 1 point of Hearts.
And they're playing opposition who are floundering. Interesting, Danny Rule persevering with Ryan Nadiri. 6 league games so far for Rangers. 6. No goals. So, but he's keeping faith in Nadiri and in Chermiti. I just think that whoever plays for Rangers tonight, they've got too much for Aberdeen.
What jumps out from that team for you, Cammy Bell?
Listen, I'm surprised. I'm not really surprised at any of the inclusions tonight. I'm with you. I think when you look at this game, it's at home, it's at Ibrox. It would be a different story if it was up at Pittodrie. I think it would be much more difficult. Rangers tonight, they'll know what's ahead of them with regards to the Hearts result. If Hearts drop points, you mentioned it, what an opportunity to catch up on Hearts. So yeah, I don't think that the personnel for me is going to play a huge difference, because I think Aberdeen are so poor. They concede goals defensively, they're soft, they don't offer much going forward. So yeah, all I can see is a Rangers win tonight.
Could they go down?
Aberdeen, absolutely.
On Rangers, Gordon, anything that surprises you? We don't see Tello Asgard start games very often, but he clearly did catch the eye when he came on in Paisley, didn't he?
Yeah. Listen, he's got something in his locker, there's no doubt about that. He's certainly got a free kick, as we've seen against Queen's Park that night. It was a terrific goal. The one that surprises me, I'm with you, I'm watching the lad Nadiri, and so far he's offered absolutely nothing for me. Absolutely nothing. So this could be a big night for him.
They clearly still think the 2 up front is the way to go, don't they?
Yeah. They certainly do. I don't mind 2 up front, but they've got to complement each other. And so far, I've not seen a lot of it. Yes, the first half against Celtic in the league game, I thought the 2 of them caused Celtic problems. But if you're a Rangers striker, you need to start scoring goals, Gordon, especially if you've got any chance of winning this league.
You've got to keep 2 up. Again, you're playing Aberdeen, who are in such poor form. So for me, it's the right decision to have 2 up top and put pressure on their defence. Rangers should have the majority of the play, but you're right, it's all about getting the ball in the back of the net.
Well, fascinating end to the day. The Hearts result is of paramount importance, because, as you rightly say, Gordon, that if Hearts get a draw, they go on to 64 points. Rangers, if they win at home, go on to 63, with just 1 point in it. And then, of course, you've got Celtic tomorrow, who could go joint top with Hearts as things stand, if they win at Tannadice.
Simon Murray is on for Dundee, and he's had a shot, but he scoops it miles over the bar, according to David Friel. Could it be Murray? Could it be Shankland? Who's going to have the final say in that one? Beningame on for Devlin, so Cammy Devlin's return, good to get him back regardless, Gordon. I suppose he's not like a match-winning player as such anyway.
No,
so
but he's a big part of that midfield. He was in brilliant form, you've got to say, before he did get injured, Gordon, but that's a boost getting these 2 guys back for a run-in. They'll be hoping that Halkett, it's not as bad as what they think. They've got an international break next week, gives them a bit of time to get him back as well. So, but they'll be looking for this another 1-0 win.
Yeah.
You know, they'll take anything now. One goal, they would take that just to get the 3 points. But Dundee, you knew they were always going to be stuffy.
Rangers now looking at, very quickly, most people's idea of the first choice centre-back pairing in Giga and Fernandes.
Yeah.
I know it's been short-lived, but is already...
Yeah.
Is that the most popular combo?
I think at this moment in time it is. Again, there's been probably question marks all season over all the centre halves, and they're trying to find. I feel as if there's a mistake in all of them, but I like that.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
Hearts 1, Dundee 0, and it's Ocean McEntee with the header. The league leaders strike at Tynecastle, and as things stand, if that's the phrase of the day, they will stretch their advantage at the top. Mark Leonard with the free kick, McEntee with the close range header, and the roof just about comes off Tynecastle. Hugh Keevins.
Ocean going madness, because that's the one for Hearts. I don't think Dundee will come back from that. So the pressure is lifted, and Hearts, I think, take another step towards fighting for the title. Not winning the title, but fighting for the title. That goal is huge.
Big moments at the top and the bottom of the league.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
Is today the day? It looks like Livy's stint ends for a lot of people. It's 2-0 Kilmarnock. There's Joe Hugel across the face of goal. And of course, some things are written to round off the week. Finlay Curtis gets his goal after his Scotland call-up, and that might just be that, not only for today, but for Livy in the Premiership, because that looks a long road back, with Kilmarnock beating them and St Mirren winning as well. 2-0 to Killie.
Well, sometimes you owe it to your own intelligence to look at the league table. Killie would go on to 27 points. St Mirren can go on to 27 points as well if they hold on against Falkirk. And 12 points beneath them, 12 would be Livy. And you don't come back from that.
No, it's good night. It's good night. Well, listen, I've never thought that Livy had any opportunity to stay in this league. I really don't. I know Big Mars went in there. He's working very hard. He's changed one or two things. They've got a few draws, but over a piece, I just didn't see enough in them to win the amount of games that they needed to stay up.
Yeah, I agree. It's a big result for Kilmarnock. Again, it's a huge result. Back-to-back wins, it looks as if they're getting. So, massive step forward for them. And as Hugh said, that if St Mirren were to get them 3 points, it brings Aberdeen right into that danger zone. But for me, it's good night Livingston.
Well, the headline at the top is Ocean McEntee's goal means Hearts have opened up a 5-point gap on Celtic and a 6-point gap on Rangers. But of course, Rangers about to play this evening and Celtic tomorrow. Motherwell a good bit further back now, and they are goalless as things stand today at home to Hibs. So their position might not improve unless something changes in the last 10 minutes or so. But Ocean McEntee, that's in many ways, Cammy, if Hearts do go on and win this league, quite symptomatic of days like this. You look at McEntee, it's a 1-0, it's a header so far. Go back to that, was that the last home game when they beat Aberdeen?
Yep, 1-0
as well.
Yep,
they just find a way.
Falkirk before that, 1-0 at Tynecastle. And again, listen, it's absolutely fine. Winning games 1-0 is all that's required between now and the end of the season. So the manager will be delighted. It's took a set piece for them to break this Dundee team down. I always thought it was going to be a difficult game. Dundee are in really good form, so there's no shame in it being a difficult game, but it's all about winning. It's all about getting them 3 points on the board. The pressure's on. And listen, you mentioned the roof came off when they scored that goal. If they win the game, the roof will come off at Tynecastle.
Well, there is a Stramash in the Hearts box. It's now a Dundee corner, so is it worth bearing in mind? I know Hugh's done it, but that's what Hugh does. Would you two totally rule out Dundee?
No. Yeah.
Would you?
Yeah, I think Hearts will.
You went for a draw.
I went for a draw, but I thought maybe Dundee could get the first goal or 0-0, but Hearts with the confidence now, the place will be rocking.
What will Simon Murray's celebration be like if he manages to spoil this party?
The window here.
Aye, he'll definitely do 2 laps of the pitch.
He'll be halfway down the M8 by 5:10.
Yeah.
He'll be at the top of Arthur's seat with a headscarf.
Well, whoever it is, there'll be someone in that Dundee team trying to spoil the party, but they've got work to do. Hearts 1, Dundee 0, Killie 2, Livingston 0. So a quick fire double of goals in the Scottish Premiership, which means the only game without one is Motherwell and Hibs, which is clearly Fraser Wishart's fault. Elijah just down injured. A tough time of it. Took that sore one at Celtic Park last week as well. Referee David Dickinson plays on. Motherwell fans are booing because 5 minutes ago he stopped the game in the exact same scenario when Miguel Chaiwa of Hibs went down.
I saw a
fans do
photograph.
this. They keep receipts.
Saw a photograph of Elijah Just's leg, and my goodness, it must have been some tackle.
Oh, from last week?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was on the agenda this week very much, wasn't it? Lots of debates about that, about whether Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain should have been sent off or not. Clyde 2, Stranraer 1, Ronan Hughes with the goal there. Stuart Morrison of Forfar has been sent off. So we're at that stage where things are happening late on in games that could be significant, none more so than that Hearts goal. Ocean McEntee, is that one of the moments Hearts will look back on if they do win this title? Because it's been narrow, there's been very little happening, they've not necessarily deserved a lead or created much, but they are in front, and that is all that matters the closer we get to the end of the season.
If you're a Rangers fan, you're slightly deflated on your way to Ibrox, because had Hearts dropped anything, Ibrox would have been rocking. But if Hearts win, 6 point gap between Hearts and Rangers, and that kind of leaves the atmosphere flatter than it might have been.
Loud claims for a Falkirk penalty for handball, but no is the verdict for now. St Mirren will be hoping it stays that way.
That could be the result of the weekend.
St Mirren?
Oh,
yeah, I know, I
result.
agree with that. Didn't think that would happen, but all credit to them. And you quite rightly say, boys, it brings Aberdeen right into the mix now.
You still got Falkirk nailed on for top 6 though, even if they can't seal it today.
100%.
Yeah, I think you might be right. I'd like to cause some mischief there, but I don't know if I've got that argument. Elijah just goes off. Not sure if it's injury related. Tom Sparrow goes off as well, and it is Aitor Björgolfsson on. So again, a bit of a different threat, a bit more direct for Motherwell. And Jordan McGee comes on as well, a man of many positions. So you wonder if he goes into left back to replace Tom Sparrow. A possible red card for Brooklyn Kabongolo of Livy. It could be a day that goes from bad to worse if that indeed is the case. Lawrence Shanklin's had his first shot back in action. It's been saved. So let's wait and see if Kabongolo does see red. I think Livy are out of this game anyway, so it probably doesn't have too much of an impact, but it means he would be suspended. Wraith 3, Airdrie 1. Kai Montague with the goal.
Yeah, good comeback from Wraith. 1-0 down, but they look like the 3 points are staying at Starks Park.
I mean, the good thing about Hearts, when you look at the positives from the day, if they can navigate their way through this, get the 3 points, you've got both Devlin and Shanklin game time. They're going to get better. As the weeks go on, they're going to get better and better. So it's real positive signs if they can manage to get their way through this game.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting finish there at Tynecastle. Just looking at that Kabongolo red, so he's pulled back Finlay Curtis. He was booked, and then the referee went to the monitor. It's the old Dogzo, which has become very in fashion at the moment. Lots of these incidents, and the yellow has been upgraded to red. Brooklyn Kabongolo goes off, so denying of a goal scoring opportunity. There have been loads of them recently. It'd be interesting to see because the clubs always get the chance to sort of come together, and they don't get to make up the rules, but I think the refereeing team have shown they're quite willing to kind of listen to feedback and try and offer different guidance. I wonder if we'll see a bit of a change on the back of, feels like that one Motherwell got up at Aberdeen, when it's like the halfway line.
I was about to mention that, the distance, the direction of players.
The clubs want that. When you look at that big wide, it's the wide, the high behind angle, which is the best one for seeing how far away the other players are. But maybe there's more needs to be taken into consideration. I wonder if the clubs want reds given for tackles in the halfway line.
No, and again, it's an interesting one, because again, they've got to take consideration into obviously the distance of the closest defender, but also the direction that they're moving. Are they in control of the ball? There's all these elements they need to take into consideration. I don't really want to see somebody getting sent off right on the halfway line, but again, the rule is at the moment, if it's denying a goal scoring opportunity, which is subjective in my opinion.
Well, of course it is.
So again, it's you're right, there's been so many of them recently, which is strange that we're speaking about them. We went through the phase of the handball, which we still do now and again, but certainly it's been the one that's came up a lot recently.
I think the difference with handballs is you get them everywhere, don't you?
Yeah.
Like even the Champions League the other night, there was a good bit of debate,
yep.
you know, that sort of thing. Whereas we've got this mad Dalziel phase at the moment for some reason. Anyway, 4 minutes added for Dave Galloway in his game there, watching Falkirk and St Mirren. Where St Mirren lead, definitely a surprise.
What a result that is! It's a brilliant result because again, struggling for form away from home at Falkirk. There'll not been many teams that will go there and win this season, so massive result for them.
If we're into time added on, Hugh, I think it's time we do this.
Okay.
The second half teaser with Archiplan Glasgow. Planning permission and building warrants drawings for home extension, conversion or renovation.
I have played alongside James McFadden and Effie Ambrose. I have been managed by Jackie McNamara and Neil Lennon, and I was a manager myself. I've won the Scottish League Cup and have never been sold for a transfer fee in spite of playing for 10 different clubs. I'm Brian Graham.
Brian Graham, you sat with him in this studio. Well, the other studio, down the corridor.
I never even thought of him.
You did not, of course. A bit of a sneaky one because he was the manager of Partick Thistle Women. So he has been a manager, and it is Brian Graham. Well done if you got it right, and a few of you did. Jamie Dock in third place, Ryan Hamilton in second, and Michael Donati was the winner of the second half teaser. Good knowledge out there, well put together, because not many people maybe forget Brian Graham and James McFadden together at
no idea.
St Johnstone.
Oh yes,
I never got that.
See?
Yeah. Yeah,
Sneaky.
good bit of knowledge.
That is sneaky.
Sneaky. 2 minutes of normal time to go at Tynecastle, and the Hearts fans will be pleased that they're actually managing it quite well. There's not that, that nervousness that can sometimes creep in when any team's got a 1-goal advantage, but that's not really happening.
I like it when a totally unexpected goal scorer comes along. It shows everyone's committed, everyone's contributing. So Ocean McEntee, he's the man.
Couple of big goals potentially. Scored at Celtic Park, didn't he, as well?
Yeah.
In that win earlier this season. Yeah. Have I made that up? No, I think he did.
Yeah, I think he did.
That was a good header that day. I'm testing my memory in my old age. Connor Motherwell played 46 minutes of this second half. It comes to nothing. I suspect we are heading for a 0-0. It's been a while since Motherwell conceded at home, but not managing to create too much today, which is unlike them. Dumbarton 2-1. Cammy, I think it's too late for your town team. Yeah. Keith Watson in the 94th
Can't
minute.
say that now after the Dundee derby last weekend.
Well, that's true. That is very true indeed. That was incredible, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, loved the ending to that.
I know we're all great after the event, but Ross Graham, the foul is ridiculous. He then gives it some of that to the Dundee player. They take the free kick and he heads in the equaliser for Dundee.
What a finish it was as well.
Yeah.
It's one of those as well. He wasn't even under that much pressure, was he?
No.
But the
foul, he shouldn't have given the foul away.
No. Ridiculous.
It puts his team under pressure.
Maybe a nervy finish at the top of League 2. East Kilbride 3, Stirling Albion 2. Kenzie Carse with the goal in 91 minutes.
Spartans still 1-1.
Yeah, I would like a goal there.
Probably going to be an extra minute or two added on for Motherwell and Hibs because Björn Golfsson was down with a head knock, so of course they'll take that into account and then add it on at the end. 4 added at Tynecastle. 4 minutes for Hearts to see this over the line and take one step closer towards what would be the most incredible title win if they could pull it off. A good few more steps still required, by the way, but this would be another big one.
Must be some sales of Imodium in Edinburgh now then.
Oh dear, too much information. Come on. For goodness sake, people are settling. People might even have the barbecues out in this weather. I tell you what though, if they are going to see it out, they're going to have to do it with 10 men. Frankie Kent has been sent off for a second booking. He fouled Riley on the break, goes into the book and off he goes. I wonder if Derek McInnes will quickly scramble on someone else with a bit of height just to put up with any high Dundee balls into the box in the last minute or two.
He could have done without a defensive suspension.
Absolutely, you're right.
Under the circumstances.
Yep,
again, it's not been straightforward for Hearts today, but they're getting the job done, and that's what it's all about.
And they certainly won't bring a sub on because they've used them all. Let's go full time. And what a result at the Falkirk Stadium, Dave Galloway.
Yeah, absolutely, Gordon. Falkirk 1, St Mirren 2, and great scenes of celebration amongst the noisy St Mirren support in the stand to my left. The hosts first to threaten in this one. Spencer lashed wildly over with Phillips shooting well wide for the visitors. Falkirk took the lead after 15 minutes, and deservedly so, with a gift. Freckleton with a misplaced pass. Tate was onto it, and he set up Stewart to sweep low into the net. But 3 minutes later, Freckleton made up for his mistake by heading in the equaliser from just a few yards out, rising to convert Tanzer's corner, taking advantage of poor marking. Saints clearly took encouragement from that, but Stewart's cutback for the Bairns, close to goal, found no takers. Real frustration for the home support there. Brogio made a very good run down the left and hit a fine cross to the back post, but Stewart's header came back off the woodwork. Young's shot forced a decent save from Bain at the other end. Falkirk, though, ended the first half very strongly, and they started the second half well also. Another impressive run by Brogio down the left. He crossed for Miller. That shot was deflected behind. But St Mirren, against the run of play, went 2-1 up on 63 minutes. O'Hara's free kick from the right flank, and Donnelly headed into the net. The visitors went for a third. Iyunga's 6-yard shot was saved by Bain, and Phillips went close with a drive following a corner kick. Falkirk fought very hard to get back level, plenty possession, and a lovely passing move set Lisa through on goal. George, though, was off his line rather smartly to block the danger. Plenty pressure from them, and loud penalty claims for handball were turned down. The ball in a very crowded penalty box, but the visitors, has to be said, credit to them, they were looking very calm and assured, and they also tried to threaten on the break. Falkirk then not quite there just yet as regards confirming a top 6 place, and St Mirren, well, you can hear the fans in the background there, they can savour just their second away Premiership win this season. Here at the Falkirk Stadium, it's ended Falkirk 1, St Mirren 2.
And Lawrence Shanklin nearly scores from his own half because John McCracken had come up for a corner for Dundee, left the goal gaping. 20 seconds to go. I think we'll stay with this because I want to hear that noise from Tynecastle when the full-time whistle goes. 94 minutes played. Is this going to be another vital 3 points for Hearts? It looked for a long time like they might struggle today. They got that Ocean McEntee goal with about 15 minutes to go, and it looks like they have held on. David Friel.
They have held on, Gordon. I can hardly hear you at full time. Hearts 1, Dundee 0. The Hearts fans, they're just jubilant right now. They've been chanting, "We shall not be moved." They're top of the league still, and who can blame them for the celebrations I'm watching right in front of me? This was a massive, hard-fought win for Derek McInnes and his players. They've extended the lead over Celtic and Rangers for the time being, at least. Hearts weren't at their best. They finished with 10 men after Frankie Kent was sent off in injury time. But Ocean McEntee's header from a set piece 13 minutes from time was enough to secure just a huge win. Tynecastle erupted from that goal, and you heard it erupt again at full time. They will be top going into the international break. Right now they are 5 and 6 points ahead of Celtic and Rangers before their games kick off over the rest of the weekend. The return of Lawrence Shanklin, Cammy Devlin, that was another positive, and Derek McInnes will also be thrilled at how the leaders cope without Craig Halkett. He pulled up in the warm-up, as I said. Michael Steinvender came in, he was outstanding. Frankie Kent played well and he was sent off. It was a really hard fought win. I'll speak to Derek McInnes soon, but I'm assuming this is going to be up there with his favourite wins of the season. The pressure was on and Hearts delivered. They will be top going into the break. They are top with 7 games to go and they aren't going anywhere, as by the looks of it. Chances were scarce in the first half until Landry Kabori was sent through by Claudio Braga in first half injury time. He just gets finished all wrong. John McCracken's out his goal. All he had to do was lob it over the top of him, but got it badly wrong. Joe Wesley then forced a save from Hearts keeper Alexander Swallow. Last kick of the first half. We wondered when Lawrence Shanklin would come on. Derek McInnes didn't throw him on at half time, but 9 minutes into the second half he did return. He definitely gave the place a lift, he gave the team a lift. Hearts had a lot of pressure, but very few clear cut chances. Mark Leonard, a free kick easily saved. Blair Spittle then had a volley saved as well. But then came that big moment, 77 minutes. Ocean McEntee is viewed as an unsung hero by Derek McInnes, but he took centre stage here. Mark Leonard's deep free kick evaded the Dundee defence. The utility man, Ocean McEntee, playing as a right back today, was all free and he headed past John McCracken from close range. Hearts is something to hang on to. They were comfortable for the most part, but there was then that scaring injury time. Frankie Kent pulled down Charlie Riley, second yellow card. He had to walk. The deep held on pressure. John McCracken was up for a corner. Hearts won the ball. Lawrence Shanklin tried to score from his own half. He couldn't do a Kenny McLean, but it didn't matter. Hearts held out for the win. They held out for the 3 points, and this is massive in the context of the season. Full time, Hearts 1, Dundee 0.
What a big result that could turn out to be come the end of the season. Full-time Motherwell, not quite as exciting, Fraser.
No, it wasn't. Motherwell 0, Hibernian 0. Just in contrast to David, you could hear the excitement in his voice, you could hear the excitement from the crowd. There was really no reaction when the referee blew the full-time whistle after a really poor 90 minutes. Game just didn't get going. No real clear chances. Neither keeper really called into action. Hardly a shot on goal, never mind on target. You can almost gloss over the first half. A team shot by Elliot Watt, the only effort on target, and it was Motherwell's only shot. Warren Hora headed wide early on. That was Hibs' only effort. Elijah Just did have the ball in the back of the net after 24 minutes, disallowed for offside by VAR. I think it was against Oscar Priestman. And the build-up in the second half was a bit more hopeful. It started much better. Stephen O'Donnell got to the byline, good cutback. Maswanisi got good, decent contact. Didn't quite get clean shot away, but it still forced a save low to his left from Salinger. At the other end, McGrath looked likely to score. He was denied an act of shooting. A brilliant tackle, chasing back by Elliot Watt. But then the game just fell back into the pattern in the first half. 66 minutes, Martin Boyle just over the dipping 20-yard volley, but Geno really scrappy. Lots of fouls interrupting the flow. Saeed for Priestman, as Jens Bertel Askew wanted to win the game. David Gray thought the same. He took Sutton Boyle off, put on Scarlett and Elding, but the flow didn't really change. O'Hara flicked a Cadden corner to the back post, no takers. Paslak curled a shot from 20 yards with his left foot, very tame effort straight at the goalkeeper, and that was Hibs' only shot on target in the 90 minutes. You felt one goal would win this, but really you didn't see it coming from either team, and that was it for the 90 minutes. Really disappointing game to watch. Never looked like living up to the pre-match expectations, but for Motherwell, they keep the gap between the two at 6 points in that important battle for fourth place. Full time at Fir Park. Motherwell 0, Hibernian 0.
Huge day at the bottom. How did it finish at Rugby Park, Alison McConnell?
Yeah, it finishes Kilmarnock 2, Livingston 0. It's back-to-back wins for Kilmarnock, but this is a result that all but relegates Marvin Bartley's Livingston. They're now 12 points adrift at the bottom of the table, with the die now surely cast. Just 7 games remaining, and barring a miracle that no one could see coming at the start of this afternoon, it's unlikely that it will come now. They did their best to make a fight of it in the opening stages of the second period. As they came out, they penned Kilmarnock back, and they tried to ask a few questions of the Rugby Park side. They were determined to try and cancel out Joe Hugo's first half opener, and they were not without their chances, much to the frustration of the home support, who grew increasingly agitated, particularly when scores started to come through from Falkirk. Lewis Smith had the best chance for Livingston. He curled an effort off the post, but Kilmarnock then went up the other end of the pitch and doubled their lead. Hugo turned provider for this one as he squared the ball across the face of goal for Finlay Curtis to net and mark a significant week in which he was named in Steve Clarke's Scotland squad with a goal. Livingston's afternoon got worse again when Brooklyn Cabangolo, who'd missed a cracking chance in the second period to level the game when he headed tamely wide, was dismissed for hauling back the shirt of Curtis. Having been dispossessed by the young winner, he panicked and clearly pulled him back. Referee Ryan Lee originally booked the defender before then going to the VAR monitor and upgrading the yellow to red for denying what was a very clear goal scoring opportunity. That compounded a pretty tough day at the office for Livingston. There's no chance really, I think, that anyone would give them of engineering an escape route from where they are now, with their fate all but sealed. But for Neil McCann and Kilmarnock, the fight continues. Both McCann and Billy Dodds walked around the perimeter of the stadium with their players applauding the Rugby Park support at full time here. They're level now on points with St Mirren, just 3 points behind Aberdeen, who are of course just preparing to kick off at Ibrox. Livingston going down seems like a done deal, but who will be in those playoffs alongside them definitely offers a fair bit of intrigue at the bottom end of the table. It finishes here at Rugby Park. Kilmarnock 2, Livingston 0.
And now it's over to Ibrox and over to you. 0141 951 1025. The lines are open What did you make of that today? What are you thinking about tonight? And what about tomorrow? Hearts fans, you must be beside yourself with excitement. It doesn't have to be vintage. You've won again and you're one step closer to that title. How significant was today? How much does it change things? For you Rangers fans, you must be heading along to Ibrox right now. Has that deflated you a bit? Did you think you were in with a chance of closing the gap when Hearts were toiling a bit today? Give us all your thoughts. We gave you the team, the likes of Tello Asgard coming into the starting 11. Does that surprise you? Sticking with Nadiri and Chermiti up front, are those the right calls from Danny Rule? How important is today? Is there also an expectation to go and win well, or is this just about getting those 3 points? And what about tomorrow? Life after Kasper Schmeichel, it looks like, for you Celtic fans. Can you do your bit up at Tannadice? Anything else at all, whatever game you witnessed today, give us a call and we'll speak to you next. We're also going to turn on the live stream as well, so just like during the week, if you want to jump on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, wherever you normally watch us, you can do that and we will speak to you next.
The Clyde One Super Scoreboard podcast was brought to you by White & Mackay, a calm head amongst the chaos. 18 plus, keep the heat and always drink responsibly.
A Rayo original podcast. I'm Catherine Ryan, back for season 3 of my podcast, What's My Age Again? Join more celebrity guests as they take the test to find the difference between their biological and chronological ages.
That's good.
With guests including Laura Whitmore, Jimmy Carr, Joanna Page, Joe Lycett, Chloe Burrows, and Ruby Wax.
Oh.
What's My Age Again?
Really?
Find it on the Rayo app, Apple, Spotify, Amazon Music, or wherever you get your podcasts, with new episodes every Tuesday.
The Clyde One Super Scoreboard podcast with White & Mackay, where wit, wisdom and experience still make occasional last-minute appearances. Smoothly does it.
Get more of what matters with the new Google Pixel 10a on EE, the UK's best network. Save £16 a month, all while getting Gemini, your personal AI assistant, 30 hours battery life, and data gifting. You'll save when you trade in too. Get your Google Pixel 10a on EE today. Launch offer ends 30th of March.
Saving on minimum 24-month 125GB Essentials airtime plan. Eligibility, credit check and terms apply. Credit by EE Limited. Verify best network at ee.co.uk/claims.
Private healthcare sounds pricey.
At Benenden Health, it's less than £16 per person per month.
Just for GP calls.
For a 24/7 GP helpline, physio, diagnostics and more. Now, tell me.
All about my medical history.
No medical questionnaires or hidden charges. We like to call it
healthcare done different.
Spot on. Benenden Health. Healthcare done different. Fee review periodically. 6-month wait for some services. T&Cs apply. Selected surgical procedures after 6 months. 24 in Northern Ireland. UK only. Visit benenden.co.uk.
Because you like spotting yellow cars before your kids do. Because you like to read the score on the screen, especially when you're winning. Because there's a Boots Opticians about 2 minutes from work. Because we have clinical experts and all the latest tech. Because your eyes deserve our ultimate eye test. Because we'll help you find your perfect style. Because of all these things, there's only one choice. Boots Opticians. See what's possible.
The all-new, all-electric Toyota CHR Plus. Sleek, stylish and quietly reliable. Available with 0% APR representative with £1,500 deposit contribution and save £1,500 with the electric car grant. Get that Toyota electric feeling. Visit your nearest Toyota centre. Price from 34495. Available on Toyota PCP when financed through Toyota Financial Services by 30th of June 2026. Optional final payment. Indemnities may be required. See website T's and C's apply.
After they play, you have your say. 0141 951 1025. Clyde One Super Scoreboard's open line.
Hugh Keevins, Cammy Bell and Gordon Dalziel are here to take your calls. It's that time on a Saturday where we get that fresh reaction as soon as you come out the stadium. We like to think that Hugh Keevins is the first person you think of, as worrying as that might be. You give us a call and let us know what you witnessed today, whether it was good or bad, somewhere in between, a player that pleased you, annoyed you, a refereeing decision. This is what Saturday evenings were made for. So give us a call, please. How significant was that result at Tynecastle? Hearts were not vintage. They toiled for a long time, and then up popped Oisin McEntee with a header to make Hearts win that game 1-0 and stretch their advantage at the top. How big could that be? How much does it change things at Ibrox and Tannadice tomorrow? Rangers fans, if you're heading along, why not give us a call? How do you see tonight going? A home game against an out-of-form Aberdeen team is not one you get away with dropping points in, is it? Would you be looking for even more? Would you be looking to get a bit of polish added to the performances after last week? Give us all your thoughts there, and on to tomorrow as well. Celtic fans, you were already preparing for life after Kasper Schmeichel, but it's official now, and onwards you go. Will you respond at Tannadice tomorrow as well? We said to you it promised to be a big weekend. It couldn't be anything else, and we've done the first part.
You used the word vintage, Gordon. Hearts are not vintage in a title race that is not vintage when it comes to the quality of the football, but it is compelling entertainment. You cannot take your eyes off it, and Hearts are now 7 games away from the title. Or will Rangers pip them, or will Celtic pip them? So, as I say, not vintage. The eventual winner of this title race will not go down in history as an outstanding football team, but in terms of Heart of Midlothian Football Club, history is the name of the game here.
Well, that's it. If it's Hearts, that will not matter a jot. This will be one of the most incredible title wins of all time, if they can be the ones that do it, and they've taken a step today.
Yeah, massive step today. And again, the Hearts fans, listen, if Hearts manage to win the title, these players will be absolute legends for years to come. If Hearts manage to get over the line, it was a big step today. It was always going to be a difficult game against a good informed Dundee team, and off the back of that poor result at Rugby Park for Hearts last weekend, so there was a lot of pressure there. They handled it, they managed to get over the line, and that's the most important thing. When you look at the other games, I think there's real significance at the bottom of the table. Kilmarnock getting 3 points, which for me puts Livingston to bed. St Mirren getting that huge result at Falkirk, which absolutely drags Aberdeen into this relegation playoff battle between themselves, Kilmarnock and St Mirren, if they don't get any points tonight.
It's been so long since Heart of Midlothian Football Club won the league. I was 11 years old.
Wow.
I wasn't even old enough to be in secondary school. That's how long ago it was.
And now it's on to Rangers tonight, Gordon, to see what they can come up with.
Yeah, and it puts pressure on both teams tonight at Ibrox. As Cammy mentioned there, Aberdeen are looking over their shoulder at St Mirren and Kilmarnock coming and closing that gap. Then Rangers are looking above at Hearts and trying to close that gap. So that's a bit of pressure for both sides. I think that Rangers with home advantage against an Aberdeen team who are in real trouble. I know they've changed their manager. They're looking for a new manager bounce. They got a draw in their first game. They're away to Rangers tonight. I think it'll be too difficult for them. And obviously Livy at the bottom, they look like they've gone. I said at the top of the show, Gordon, it's not about performances, it's about 3 points.
Well, on that note, first caller through is a Kilmarnock fan. It's Simon. Simon, was this the day that your automatic relegation fears were ended?
Yeah, hi guys, hope you're all doing well. Yeah, talking about not being vintage, I don't think Kilmarnock were vintage today, but we didn't really have to be. Livingston were really, really poor. We took advantage of it, although saying that it should have been much, much more comfortable than it was. You know, Joe Hugo should score in the first minute of the game. Liam Polworth misses a one-on-one. You know, it should easily have been 4 or 5 today. But, you know, we went with the diamond again today, which I don't like Polworth on the right of the diamond. I don't think he's athletic enough. I think that right of that diamond, you need someone more like a Watson or a Lyons who have the energy. But listen, we didn't need to be at our best today. Hugh said he was 11 when Hearts last won the league. I think he was 11 when Kilmarnock last had 2 back-to-back clean sheets, it feels like. So it's a nice relief today. And I just wanted to know if the panel think, I know they touched on it a little bit there, whether, you know, I can't see, as bad as Rangers are, I can't see Aberdeen winning today. So how much do you think Aberdeen are in free fall, a bit like Hibs the year they went down? And whether it's probably a 3, maybe even 4-way battle where we're only 5 points behind Dundee now. We've still got to play them at Rugby Park before the split. So yeah, I feel it's going to be a really, really interesting battle for who finishes 11th.
Yeah, let's remind everyone of just exactly what that portion of the table looks like. So Kilmarnock are still 11th, but it's goal difference. So them, alongside St Mirren on 27 points. Aberdeen are only 3 points above that. And as Simon outlined, go to Ibrox tonight. And then 2 points further on, Dundee. So 8th to 11th, separated by the 5 points. Who is your tip, if you like, to finish 11th?
I still think it might be St Mirren, but I'm not ruling out Aberdeen. I said it 2 o'clock today. 2 points from their last possible 18. 16 points dropped in their last 6 games. That's freefall by any definition. And Stephen Robinson has been handed this crown of thorns and asked to do something with it just to keep them in the division. They'll get nothing at all at Ibrox. Simon is pointing out they've got to play Killie. I think they are in serious trouble. If Neil McCann continues to get a tune out of Kilmarnock, and they've done back-to-back, they've done Hearts and now Libby, Aberdeen are in serious trouble of their own making.
And I can't pick holes in Hugh's prediction, because how do you pick? It's extremely difficult. What you would say, though, St Mirren had a very impressive away win today as well, so it almost makes the question even harder, Gordon. And do we need to give a bit of time to see what effect Stephen Robinson has? He's managed one game.
Yeah, and then he's got a difficult one tonight away to Rangers at Ibrox. It'll be interesting. I don't think they'll get anything tonight either. I don't think Rangers will cruise it, but I think they'll have enough to go over a line. And then you look at Aberdeen's next game.
Yeah,
away to St Mirren. So that's got to be a real blockbuster. And look, I think Kilmarnock under Neil McCann and Billy Dodds will have enough to get out it. I think it's a straight fight between St Mirren and Aberdeen. If I was putting my last couple of pound in, I would probably go St Mirren.
So you're not won over by St Mirren going to Falkirk and getting the victory?
Listen, I didn't see it coming. Great result. Can't take anything away from them. But I think over a piece, I think that St Mirren, I'll put it this way, I would probably go for whoever wins the St Mirren Aberdeen game.
The St Mirren one's a little bit unknown, because we don't know which direction they're going with their management and what they're going to select going forward. I'm pretty sure they'll want to do that pretty quickly. It was a brilliant result for them today. What that does, it gives them a huge boost, a huge lift in confidence. And you're right, they mentioned the next game, Aberdeen away to St Mirren. That is just an incredible game, because if Aberdeen were to lose tonight, then go down to Paisley and lose that game, they are in deep trouble. So listen, there's some big games coming up, because also Aberdeen's game after that is at home to Hibs, so they're not easy. And then they enter that bottom 6, and the pressure that they've got in the bottom 6 is something they've never felt before. They felt pressure at the top end trying to get European football, but certainly not at the bottom end for a long time.
Simon, does it feel like a kind of release to not then worry about the bottom spot, if you feel like that's that done today and you can look upwards?
Yeah, totally. I think the game when we played them at Almondvale, it was a draw. There was a bit of justice today with Cabangolo being sent off, because we all know he should have been sent off after 10 minutes in that game. So a little bit of justice being done for us. I didn't really feel, since Neil McCann's came in, I didn't really feel like Livingston could catch us. You know, they've won one game all season. They would have had to have won 3, and we would have had to have lost all 3. It seemed unlikely anyway, but yeah, I think that's put to bed, as the guys say. But when you're mentioning the other results, the other games coming up, St Mirren still have to play Celtic as well, final game before the split, whereas we've got Dundee at home, which Dundee are decent, but obviously it's a much tougher game for them. I feel like Finlay Curtis getting his first goal today. He's been knocking on the door. I don't know how he's not scored so far. I think he's going to be a real spark when he goes into the Scotland team. With all due respect to my football team, who I love dearly, but when he goes up and he plays alongside better players, you see sometimes when you watch him play, like especially today in the game against Hearts, he's just a split second ahead of most of the other players in our team. In terms of his thinking, in terms of his ability, in terms of those passes. So I feel like when he goes into the Scotland team and he's got guys like McTominay making runs for him, I think he's going to be a real spark. And I really hope he gets the World Cup, because I think he deserves it. And he would offer us that, like that mirror image to Ben Doak on the right, him on the left, 2 really tricky, pacey wingers, something Scotland haven't had for a while. So looking forward to those games, going into Liverpool for the game against Cote d'Ivoire, so that should be a nice fun trip. But yeah, just glad to get those results, glad to be sitting a little bit prettier, not having to worry about relegation automatic. But having watched that game last night, I don't really fear too much about Partick Thistle or St Johnstone. I don't think either of them are up to much scratch. So if it was a playoff, especially our record against Partick Thistle, I would fancy us in that. But yeah, good to see Ayr lose again as well. So all in all, apart from St Mirren winning, it's been a decent day.
It was a bad result that for Ayr, wasn't it? Losing at home to Morton, but I'm not letting Simon gloat any further. He's had his fun for this afternoon. That was Simon, a Kilmarnock fan, looking up the way now. Feels that Livy are gone If you've any other thoughts, share them. At the top end, Stevie's a Celtic fan, right, Stevie? Let's be honest, you and the Rangers fans were united in a common cause today in hoping that Hearts would lose. They didn't. They won in the end. What does that do for this title race?
I think it obviously amplifies it, guys. Obviously, that means there's a great show as usual, boys. That means
thanks, Steve.
They certainly try to go on. But as I say, I just think the Celtic Rangers are still having to play each other. I think this could get down to like helicopter trio Sunday. Know what I mean? No, where there's just a helicopter sitting in the middle of the M8 somewhere. Know what I mean? And as I say, I'm hoping in the salaries they get complacent. I mean, obviously it was terrible what's happened to Kasper Schmeichel. Obviously terrible for Denmark getting into the playoffs as well. I mean, they're not going to be as confident. You know what I mean? Sort of got dirtied a wee bit. You know what I mean? That Harvey Barnes going to get picked in a 35-man England squad, but you just sit and say in the World Cup year, our league's doing well. We've got 3 teams battling away. We've got a team hovering. Maybe not going to win it themselves. They could maybe decide who does win it. But I just think it's a big result for Hearts today, guys. I just didn't know what you guys thought that going into after the international break that it could just be like a dogfight.
I think it means, Hugh, what does it do? It's clearly not enough to say Hearts will, they'll definitely win the league or anything like that. No. But the closer we get, we must be at a point where it almost secures it that they certainly won't fall away. Do you know what I mean? And they won't be far away, whatever happens. Are we at that stage for you?
Yeah, every game played by Celtic, Rangers and Hearts is vital. Again, I go back to Hearts have to go to Easter Road. The Easter Road fans would never forgive their team if they don't beat them. Rangers have to go to Celtic Park. Hearts have to go to Celtic Park. There's all sorts going on. And therefore, sit back and enjoy, unless you're a heavily committed fan of one of those 3 teams, at which point you are really a bag of nerves. You're living on your nerves. The Celtic, Rangers and Hearts supporters are now just living on their nerves. Celtic, one street might decide Celtic's league title race. Tannadice Street. They're at one part of it tomorrow, and the other part of it across the road in a fortnight's time to play Dundee. That street could go a long way when it comes to Celtic's journey.
What did today's win for Hearts do?
I think it was massive for me, for Hearts to react. It was an opportunity at home, and one that I looked at, and yes, you expect Hearts to go and beat Dundee, but you break it down. They had a disappointing weekend last weekend, dropped points away at Kilmarnock at Rugby Park. And then Dundee are an informed team. They've been doing well recently. They're a difficult side, so it was always going to be hard. It was always just about getting them 3 points because you've got an international break. So you didn't want to, again, drop points at Rugby Park, drop more points at Tynecastle, and then have to stew on that for an international break in 2 weeks' time. Listen, every single weekend between now and the end of the season is going to be significant for all 3 of the teams. I don't think any of them are going away. I believe I'm the same with Stevie. I think this could genuinely go down to the last 8, and I think all 3 of them could be involved in it.
See what I mean, Gordon? It would now, when are we at the stage where it would take something almost unthinkable for Hearts to not be in that mix?
No, Hearts have certainly got to be in the mix.
Last couple of games.
Yeah, I think it was a good day for Hearts all round. I know they weren't there. It wasn't a brilliant display from them, but they get the 3 points, they keep a clean sheet, and they get the added bonus of getting Devlin and Shanklin back into the team. I know that there was a blow before the kick-off with Halkett. We'll just need to wait and see how he is after international break. But Hearts are there to stay. They've been there too long. Yeah. And every time they lose a game, and they lost against Kilmarnock, everybody's thinking, right, if they lose the next one, that's a bubble burst. They're hanging in there, and they deserve to be there. They're getting the results. That's what it's about just now. And they're getting their key players back as well. They will be there right to the end for me.
Stevie, you're a Celtic fan. How confident are you that it's your team that comes through?
Again, obviously, I've said this for a week's experience. Having an experienced man at the helm is pivotal. Obviously, as Hugh says, Tannadice is going to be a big street. But when you look at the guys and you sit and say, Celtic won 13 out of the 14 trophies, They've been there again. Schmeichel was a blow, you know what I mean? But again, Sinisalo has got the jersey. I just hope he respects it and appreciates the opportunity that he's got. And when you see, as Charlie was saying earlier on there, you know, it's when whoever wins this, I mean, it could be 1 minute it's gone to Edinburgh, and then next minute it's gone to Govan, and then next minute it's gone to Parkhead, and we're back at Edinburgh, then we're back at Govan. It's just going to be, to me, it's just going to be up and down, guys. I mean, as the weeks go on, it's just going to be up and down.
Stevie,
Heart Health Services would be the obvious place, wouldn't it?
Yeah,
Just wait there.
The fact that Celtic are second in this league is a remarkable tribute to Martin O'Neill, because you're talking about a season in which Celtic have had 3 managers. They had the row surrounding the departure of Brendan Rodgers. They had the awful 33 days of a truly awful manager in Wilfred Nancy, and Martin O'Neill has risen above all of that to keep Celtic.
Still Celtic though. You're acting like it's Albion Rovers have climbed to second in the table.
But I think given the bad players that Celtic signed,
7 losses this season in the league is a lot.
Yeah,
given
the
Celtic
I don't
standards.
doubt that, but the point I'm trying to get to the bottom of, how much of an underdog can Celtic truly be? The richest team with all the history behind them, and Callum McGregor.
Listen, when you look at the finances, absolutely they can't be an underdog.
But they don't spend it.
But again, I think when you look at
they do, in the sense that Callum McGregor will win 40 grand a week. You know, we can't have it. We can't have it that Celtic being second described as remarkable.
Yeah, but given the circumstances, given that they're on their 3rd manager, given that Wilfred Nancy hung around long enough to lose 12 league points, and in fairness to the club, given that they had serious injuries to Ali Johnson, to Jota, to Cameron Carter-Vickers, and to the club's discredit, the fact that they signed player after player of no use to Martin O'Neill or the club, I think it's a tribute to Martin O'Neill that Celtic are second.
Well, we've shifted the goalposts. A tribute to Martin O'Neill for a job well done, to me, is a few rungs below remarkable. I just think Celtic set their own standards. Can Celtic being second ever be described as remarkable?
No, I don't think so. And Hugh's touching on there, they've had 3 managers, but look at the quality. Brendan Rodgers, for instance, and Martin O'Neill. I know that Wilfred Nancy didn't go down too well.
Understatement.
Yeah, an understatement. But look, you'd expect, I know that the signings haven't been great. I think Rangers are in the same boat. I think there's 1 or 2 signings at Rangers you would look at and question. But they're Celtic, they pay big money, they've got a big squad full of international players. You'd expect them to be up there.
Thank you to Stevie. 01419511025. Keep the calls coming, and we'll speak to you next. Lots of men out there want to feel more confident in the bedroom. In fact, 1 in 5 men have issues as they get older. That's why MedExpress is here to provide support in minutes through a free online consultation. By completing the short online consultation, they'll suggest the right treatment for your concerns, all from the comfort of your home. And you know you're in the right place. They've been one of the country's leading online pharmacies since 2013 with over 1.5 million customers. Their UK-based clinical team will support you every step of the way and send your medication straight to your door. And the best bit is the whole process is online, so you don't even have to visit your GP. So no more planning or pressure, just confidence when you need it most. Visit medexpress.co.uk to check your eligibility and get 30% off with the code SuperScoreBoard. That's SuperScoreBoard, all one word, when you check out at medexpress.co.uk.
Private healthcare sounds pricey.
At Benenden Health, it's less than £16 per person per month.
Just for GP calls.
For a 24/7 GP helpline, physio, diagnostics and more. Now, tell me.
All about my medical history.
No medical questionnaires or hidden charges. We like to call it
healthcare done different.
Spot on. Benenden Health. Healthcare done different. Fee review periodically. 6-month wait for some services. T&Cs apply. Selected surgical procedures after 6 months. 24 in Northern Ireland. UK only. Visit benenden.co.uk.
Because you like spotting yellow cars before your kids do. Because you like to read the score on the screen, especially when you're winning. Because there's a Boots Opticians about 2 minutes from work. Because we have clinical experts and all the latest tech. Because your eyes deserve our ultimate eye test. Because we'll help you find your perfect style. Because of all these things, there's only one choice. Boots Opticians. See what's possible.
Get more of what matters with the new Google Pixel 10a on EE, the UK's best network. Save £16 a month, all while getting Gemini, your personal AI assistant, 30 hours battery life, and data gifting. You'll save when you trade in too. Get your Google Pixel 10a on EE today. Launch offer ends 30th of March.
Saving on minimum 24-month 125GB Essentials airtime plan. Eligibility, credit check and terms apply. Credit by EE Limited. Verify best network at ee.co.uk/claims.
Wrong tool for the job? Don't make that mistake with your van. Get up to 30% off selected new Toyota vans and pickups with a warranty up to 10 years or 100,000 miles with every qualifying routine service. Visit your nearest Toyota centre or visit toyota.co.uk/van savings for more details. Savings on selected vans and pickups ordered by the 31st of March 2026. UK residents. See toyota.co.uk for full details. T's and C's apply.
You're listening to the Clyde One Super Scoreboard podcast, the home of Scottish football, and it's proudly sponsored by White & Mackay Triple Matured Whisky. Now let me make one thing crystal clear right from the start. If you've tuned in tonight looking for balance, for moderation, or for a gentle exchange of views where everyone nods politely and agrees to disagree, you are categorically in the wrong place. But if you've tuned in because you know Scottish football isn't about balance, it's about belief, it's about tribal loyalty, and it's about being absolutely convinced you're right, even when the evidence is screaming otherwise, then you are exactly where you should be. So get comfortable, pour yourself a dram and brace yourself, because at some point tonight, something you hear will annoy you. This is the Clyde One Super Scoreboard podcast with White & Mackay Triple Matured Whisky. Smoothly does it.
LinkedIn is pretty great at a lot of things, like helping you tap into your field's latest industry trends and insights. We can't stop your colleague from tapping her pencil. LinkedIn can help you find new jobs that align with your career goals. We cannot help find the source of that weird smell in the office fridge. Ew. And while we can't stop your colleagues from bringing their hobbies into the office, LinkedIn can help bring your career to the next level. LinkedIn is the network that works for you.
What's on TV? The answer is a lot. There's never been more choice over what to put on the box with an abundance of great new shows, but you can miss them all if you don't know where to look. And that's where the Pilot TV podcast comes in, your essential guide to every show that matters. Each week we sift through the very best in prestige TV to help you decide what's worth spending your time on and what isn't. So join me, James Dyer, as well as venerable TV critics Boyd Hilton and Kay Ribeiro, and let us help take the stress out of your downtime. The Pilot TV podcast, because you can't watch everything.
You can't do much in under 5 minutes. Boil an egg? Sure. Cook a roast dinner? No chance. But comparing car insurance prices with mustard.co.uk? Easy. See what you could save in just a few minutes. Click mustard.co.uk. Authorised and regulated by the Financial Conduct Authority. See website for details.
After the action, it's your reaction. 0141 951 1025. Clyde One Super Scoreboard's open line.
Hugh Keevins, Gordon Dalziel and Cammy Bell are in the studio. We are digesting whatever happened today and looking ahead to later and tomorrow as well. Let's go back to Ibrox. Does Stephen Robinson's appointment boost Aberdeen's chances of getting something? Even if it's a small boost. I know you don't expect Aberdeen to get anything.
No.
So they don't have a better chance with Stephen Robinson than Peter Leaving?
I don't think so. Stephen had the team last week, 1-1 draw, not the start the Aberdeen fans wanted. I think Stephen, like Peter Leaving, is hampered by poor players.
And that's the thing, that's obviously true. I feel like as an Aberdeen fan though, even if we're talking a couple of percent, you'd feel a bit more secure under Stephen Robinson.
There's got to be a reaction from the players because a lot of the players are playing for the future. It's a new manager in the door. Stephen Robinson will be there next season no matter what happens. So again, I think he's had a week on the training pitch. He'll have them structured. We know he makes his teams difficult to beat. So I expect them to be slightly more organised in the way that he wants to approach this game to try and get any points away from Ibrox. But do I expect Aberdeen to take any points? Absolutely not. I don't think. I agree with you. I think that the players are a bit of the problem at the moment.
I agree with Cammy there. I think they will be a little bit more organised. He's had time to work with them. Maybe a set play could make a difference. But I don't really hold out a lot of hope for Aberdeen getting anything.
It's not a team built in his image, is it? Like the way St Mirren was.
No,
yeah.
I think Aberdeen as a football club have diminished in stature. I know they got a Scottish Cup win. Can I just say, Kasper Schmeichel had a sore shoulder that day, apparently.
So fair.
But they've drawn players from all over the place, and the entire club has lost its identity, and a lot of that is down to Dave Cormack, who's made poor managerial appointments. I feel there's more tension to come behind the scenes. I don't think that Stephen Robinson was the sporting director Lutz Pfannenstiel's choice. Therefore, is there a place at the Tawdry now for Lutz Pfannenstiel? There's more havoc to come there, but simply isolating the rest of the season, he'll get nothing at Ibrox. If Cammy said earlier, the result of the game against St Mirren, which is their next match and away from home, is going to be crucial. I just think they're a once big club currently in a bad place.
Ian is on the line. Ian is a Celtic fan. What is it looking like now for you, Ian? You know Hearts have done their bit. Rangers are going to try, and then over to you tomorrow.
Well, panel, hope you are well. I'd like to touch on Shuggy's point, actually, that he thinks it's remarkable Celtic in second position. I'm 20 years of age. I've only seen Celtic lose 2 or 3 titles. I don't think it's remarkable one bit. I know we're in a poor position. Celtic will always come strong. Serial winners, Callum McGregor. I know he's out injured now. Once we get him back, it'll be like a new signing. Get Rio Hatate there as well. But I think some of Shuggy's points are baffling. I don't know if he does it to try and get a reaction or what he's trying.
Well, let Shuggy answer you then.
Scottish Shuggy.
I don't find it baffling. I stand by my choice of word. I think that the manner of Brendan Rodgers' departure had the club in a downer. The utterly unfathomable decision to appoint Wilfred Nancy, the 12 points lost by Wilfred Nancy, and then the return of Martin O'Neill. I throw in bad injuries, I throw in very bad signings, and I think that the job that Martin O'Neill has done to get Celtic second in the league is remarkable.
Where should they be then? Because remarkable is like punching above your weight, isn't it? So where should Celtic be right now?
Do you know, the way I would answer that question would be, I might have had an answer for you if I'd known who would take the place of Wilfred Nancy, because for me it's about O'Neill. O'Neill has kept the club afloat. He has handled the warring parties, the Green Brigade and the board, in fact everybody and the board. He's held the club together. I don't know who Celtic would have appointed other than Martin O'Neill, because I don't think anyone could have got them to where they are just now other than Martin O'Neill.
Yeah, they've got the most expensive squad in the league, right? And they're also, as much as we're saying, remarkable got to second, they've got a chance of a double. They're in the semi-final and they're going in firm favourites against St Mirren, and if they get to the final they'll go in firm favourites against Falkirk or Dunfermline. So I know that it's not been the greatest season for Celtic. I know what Hugh's trying to say, but I still would imagine Celtic, I still have Celtic to probably go on and win the league.
I feel like they almost start with such a cushion, Cammy. They've earned that. Ian said that Ian's a young man.
Yep.
Celtic win every title pretty much. They've all that money. So all those things that Hugh mentions, they've had to overcome adversity of sorts by their own standards. But I still feel like remarkable has to be reserved for teams that are punching above their weight or doing something, well, remarkable.
Yeah, listen, I get where Hugh's coming from. Would you use the word remarkable? Maybe not. But it's been a chaotic season for Celtic. It absolutely has. This has been, again, when you look at them seasons and you mentioned that they've won so many titles previously, they've never had a season anything like this. So many changes of managers, so much disruption, poor recruitment, you've got to throw that in there. It's been really, really poor. When you break everything down, it's came in one season. So I get where Hugh's coming from with regards to if they manage to navigate their way through this season with all that disruption and win the title, it will have been a great achievement. It will have been a great achievement because it's not been straightforward. It's been as uncomfortable for Celtic as they've seen for a long time.
I think it comes with its own... It'll feel special in its own way if Celtic can overcome it. But the other way of looking at it would be all of this stuff, all of this disaster that you've outlined, and second, that's as bad as it gets for Celtic. Worst season and whatever, manager, injuries, whatever, and the poor souls have to slip as far down as second. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. But I go back to the day when Wilfred Nancy lost to Rangers at Celtic Park and the crowds then formed outside.
That's when they cut ties with him quickly enough.
Yeah. I'd say the fact that he was hired at all is a disgrace.
I was got to say, he should have never any ties with him.
Yeah. But Ian, if Shuggy did these things to get a reaction, he got one from you.
Could say that, Shuggy, but I think it's just poor journalism, to be honest, trying to get a reaction out of fans. And to back my point up about Celtic, I think they'll push through, win the league again. I think Danny Rowe never been in a situation to win a league. What Derek McInnes has done is admirable, but when has he been in a position to win the league? They will bottle it. Celtic will win the league by 6 points.
Are you doing this to get a reaction, Ian?
No, definitely not. I'm a Celtic fan. You can call it entitled. We get that a lot, entitled. But to be honest, I think Celtic will just...
I'm trying to do the arithmetic and almost figure out if... Yeah. I mean, I know they can, right? But like, what would it happen for Celtic to win it?
Yeah, I know. Well, they need to beat Hearts and Rangers, beat Motherwell.
So I think that's the beauty of it. It is so tight now that kind of the alternative to what I said about Hearts. Are we now getting to the stage where Hearts will have to almost be there by the end? Could they possibly drop off drastically enough that they wouldn't? Similarly for Celtic,
they could. But
how would Celtic go on and win it comfortably now?
Yeah, I don't think they would. I genuinely don't think they would, because I don't think the other teams are going to drop off, and that's my reasoning for that. If anyone says like why won't Celtic win by 6 points, because I can't see Rangers and Hearts dropping off that much either.
Both of them at the same time.
I think they'll all stay together, and I really do. I think which is going to be great for Scottish football.
This guy accuses me of saying things to get a reaction, and then finishes by saying Celtic will win the league by 6 points.
Come on, Shuggy. I mean, it's all in good spirit, Shuggy. That's catching on for me.
It's good, isn't it?
Shuggy Bear.
Wasn't having you, Shuggy?
No. But
poor journalism, I like that.
Yeah, poor journalism. I wonder
made a career out of that.
Well, I think if you get 56 years out of being a poor journalist, you've done well. You're quite a clever guy, I think.
I don't know if predictions are journalism as such anyway. It's more fortune telling, and you're no good at that, which we've accepted a long time ago.
I always say, if you had said to me at the start of the season, do you think Celtic and Rangers will have 5 managers this season? I don't think you'd have forecast that.
No, thank you very much to Ian, who was on the line there, catching up with his old pal Shuggy as we move towards kick-off at Ibrox.
Well, I changed my name by deed poll, do you think?
Yeah, I think we could potentially do that. Let's just pause actually, and we'll go back to Ibrox when we return.
It's Clyde One Super Scoreboard's open line 0141 951 1025.
Into the final parts of tonight's Clyde One Super Scoreboard, which means we are fast approaching kick-off at Ibrox. The Aberdeen fans not put off by the situation they find themselves in. They've travelled down, tucked away in that corner at Ibrox, just getting ready for kick-off. The teams are about to come onto the surface. Cammy Bell, I wonder what emphasis you'd put on home comforts for Rangers tonight. If we go through their last few home league games, going back... 2 goals against Celtic, 4 against Hearts, 5 against Kilmarnock, 3 against Dundee. This is that's quite a run, because I think maybe the feeling in this Rangers team is they're not that fluent in attack. They maybe don't create loads, they don't score loads. But the last few league games at home, they've not had any trouble there at all.
Yeah, no, they've scored a number of goals and been convincing. Results for Rangers at home, but I feel as if it's tonight it's the way they start the game. If they can start the game fast, take this game to Aberdeen, get an early goal, then listen, this Aberdeen's very, very fragile at this moment in time. So I think if Rangers approach it in the right manner, the right attitude, you look at the team they've got out there, they've got players that can hurt them. And they've been comfortable at home. You mention it, the results that they've had, they've been very, very comfortable, and they'll be hoping it's another comfortable night for Rangers tonight.
Scintillating performances from Rangers have been few and far between this season. First half against Celtic, followed by a terrible second half, terrific second half against Hearts. But one of these times you think it will fit into place. As I say, Nadiri, 6 league games, no goals at all. Might it be tonight that he breaks his duck? Chermiti, we know, is capable of scoring in the bigger matches. I just think that there's such a gulf between the two teams that I could see Rangers winning convincingly by 3 or 4.
I think they would just take, like, Hearts 1-0, 2-0. They'd be happy with that. You look at the way Aberdeen are going to line up, they'll probably go 5 at the back. Make it very difficult. Try and make it very difficult for Rangers getting in behind and creating chances.
Do you think that big expectant crowd would be happy with a 1-0? I mean, I take your obviously they'll take it in every point and all that, but do you not think the Rangers fans would be looking at a home game? I've just mentioned how many goals they've scored at home recently against a struggling bottom 6 team, at a time in the season where you're looking for maybe just a wee sign that you've got that something extra that your rivals don't have.
Taking into the running, of course, but I think first and foremost, as we keep saying, and I said it to the top of the show, and I think it'll be the same with Celtic tomorrow, when Hearts have won the game, you've just got to go out there and get your 3 points in the bag. Yes, if you get a bit of dominant display, then that's a bit of ice in the cake, but a 1-0 or a 2-0 still is 3 points.
Just feels like we're nearly at the end of the season, Cammy, and you could count. You can definitely count on one hand the number of times the Rangers fans will have gone home after a game and went, that was brilliant, I love that. And I think that's okay as a fan to request that, to want that from your team.
Yeah, they want that. Whether Rangers can deliver that, the problem for me is Rangers can't do a full 90-minute game. There's been few and far between games where they've played a full 90 minutes and been dominant and at their best, but they've got results. And tonight's another one where the results the biggest thing that matters. Can they get 3 points on the board? Give themselves a chance of winning this title. Maybe not being at their best, but listen, if Rangers fans got offered the chance of winning the title and being poor or relatively poor all season, then they would absolutely bite your hand off for it.
If you're looking for clues, Gordon Dalziel, Aberdeen are trying to press Rangers high up the pitch early on.
Yeah, very surprised at that. I thought they'd have dropped off and just let Rangers back to get the ball. But you can see right away that Stephen Robinson has obviously been working all week with them, and they're going to try and press Rangers very high up, which could leave you a bit exposed at the back.
Yeah, because look, Rangers have got out of it pretty easily, just kept it with a bit of patience, then a nice switch of play and getting out down that left hand side. Only 2 minutes gone at Ibrox. Rangers 0, Aberdeen 0. Will keep you up to speed on anything that happens inside the opening stages. Let's hear the first managers are starting to make their way through. They've been taking their time. What about Jens Bertel Askew? A 0-0 for Motherwell at home to Hibs today.
I think we tried to speed up things from start to finish today to win the game, and at times it looked really good, but obviously lacked the last bit of quality and sharpness in the final moments throughout the game. When we finally found it, the small margins weren't on our side, and we kept going. We had a big moment also with JT in the second half where he doesn't connect as good with the ball as we've seen him do so many times this season. And then we tried towards the end. It became quite lively at times in the second half because the direct games turned out to some second ball stuff where the pitch was quite open in the centre, and then it went a little bit both ways there. And I have to praise the players out there for really being extremely disciplined and defending the phases of the game really well, where we know they are strong, set plays, crosses and transitions. Outstanding in terms of that we were able to dominate and control the game in possession without giving more big chances away than we did. And then obviously disappointed now that we weren't able to convert that dominance and control into more clear-cut chances.
So a point doesn't do Motherwell's chances of making life uncomfortable in the top three any real good, but keeps Hibs 6 points at arm's length heading in towards that split. Now 4 minutes gone at Ibrox. Gordon, anything of note?
No, not at all. The game will just settle down, Gordon. Rangers obviously dominating most of the possession just now, but as I said, Aberdeen will fold back into a back five and get everyone behind the ball and try and make it hard. It's up to Rangers to create something here as they come forward. Nadiri having a shot, but it's well blocked.
They've looked sharp. Rangers have moved the ball really well. There's been good runners in behind, good movement. Mikey Moore's had a lot of the ball so far, so Rangers have started the game pretty well.
They do look in the mood, Hugh.
Yeah, as I say, I think it'll be a very comfortable win for them. And not because Aberdeen are hopeless, but Rangers have started very well, and they have the players who can inflict damage on Aberdeen, and they look in the mood. The crowd will be enjoying it.
You just see how deep Aberdeen are there. You look at where the two Rangers centre halves are playing.
Yeah.
They're playing for about 35-40 yards out. Aberdeen just drop everybody in, try to make sure there's no spaces for Rangers to open them up. But Rangers are moving the ball about quite well.
Incidentally, Jens Bertolascu, he can certainly talk, can't he?
Oh yeah, he talks a good game.
It's
Second
a
language as well.
detailed summary of a load of dross.
But you know a great thing today, I know he'll be disappointed at home to Hibs, another clean sheet here.
Yeah.
The clean sheets at Fir Park are incredible. What is that? Only Raskin has scored in the last 12-13 games at Fir Park. Incredible.
Tello Asgard was involved there, tried to get on the end of a kind of a scooped ball into the box from Mikey Moore. It's a big day for him, Gordon, to try and show that, because if there is one criticism of this Rangers team at the moment, is that area, that midfield area, to unlock things, and he's the man that's been tasked with it today. Yeah,
it's an opportunity for him. Sometimes when you see him, you think, oh, there's a real player in there, and then other times he just offers absolutely nothing to the team. So he's waited his chance. He did look lively when he come on, but he started the game, and it's up to him now to say, right, okay, I'm the guy that can do that for the run-in to the end of the season now and unlock defences.
To answer your question, that Nico Raskin goal is the only one Motherwell have conceded at home since the 18th of October.
Incredible.
Wow, that's incredible. Incredible.
But anyway, 6 minutes gone at Ibrox. We will keep you up to speed in the next few minutes before we disappear. I suppose a nod to tomorrow. Cammy, what type of challenge can Dundee United pose to Celtic?
Yeah, listen, they're at home, so it'll be a game that they'll be trying to get something from. It's going to be a difficult game for Dundee United, especially off the back of what happened last week. There's no getting away from it. There'll be a huge amount of disappointment around about Dundee United with the way the game ended in the derby. I just feel as if the importance of the game for Celtic, I'll make sure that they go up there, approach it right, and I think Celtic will come away with all 3 points for me.
I mean, obviously they have to, in the context of this title race, Hugh.
Yeah, that always comes back to the strikers. Shvanchara has now scored important goals back-to-back weekends. I would imagine he would start the game with Yang and Maeda either side of him. I was going to say the start's important, but the last time Celtic went up to Tannadice, they started wonderfully well, and they dominated the first half, had a 1-goal lead, and were looking good, and then collapsed. But again, those were in the dark, confused days of Wilfred Nancy.
I tell you what's so confused about it. See this current Celtic team? Mm-hmm. Do they have an attacking performance like that in them?
You just wonder.
Because they look way more likely to win football matches. But do you know what I mean? They actually were quite fluent in attack, but just could not do the other end of it when they were at that spell during Wilfred Nancy.
I'll be interesting tomorrow. Listen, you're going up against a Dundee United team. I was very impressed with them last week in the derby. They dominated most of that game and should have won, but they've got that in them, and I think Celtic will have enough to go up there tomorrow and get 3 points.
I think, as the Dazzler would call it, there's an esprit de corps about Celtic now, and the supporters. You know, apparently Celtic Park was like the old days last weekend, minus the Green Brigade, and I think they'll have a big crowd at Tannadice tomorrow, and the crowd and fans are as one at the moment. But you can be as one all day long. If you can't stick the ball in the net, then you're in trouble. So
there's a what about Celtic?
Esprit de corps.
No idea.
No?
I thought it was a coffee.
You stick with Shuggy, I'll keep you right.
Yeah.
I think there was a selection of handballs in the middle of the pitch from Aberdeen there. Liam Morrison with the final one. Still feels weird seeing Stephen Robinson wear Aberdeen here, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
taking a bit of getting used to with his Adidas jacket on the touchline, trying to bark instructions. James Tavernier's over a free kick with 9 minutes gone. Definitely a crossing one. I mean, even he, I don't think, would.
No. He's got the big lads up there. He'll put it in the penalty box and hope somebody gets their head on.
Size.
I was going to say, look at the physical presence that Rangers have. If you can get a good delivery in there, this is a huge opportunity. Any balls into the box when you've got all your defenders up and your big players lined up, it's difficult to defend against.
I mean, especially if Tello Asgard's your kind of creative. He's big.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. He's the kind of creative midfield supposed to be, not including the centre backs, the big strikers that they've got. Anyway, that's not a great delivery. It did force Morrison to put it out for a corner. I think we'll stick with that, and then we will bid you farewell just to see if we get any inclination of what Rangers are going to do to try and respond to Hearts, who were of course victorious today. James Tavernier is over the corner, Mikey Moore waiting. It does go straight into the box, and it's a big chance.
Oh, he should score.
Bullet header from Chermiti, and it goes wide. There we are. Hearts have laid down a marker for Rangers and then Celtic tomorrow to try and follow. Will they? And what will that table look like come tomorrow evening? Thank you for your company this afternoon. The GBX is up next, which I'm sure you'll be happy about, and Andrew McLean and the guys will speak to you at 4 o'clock tomorrow.
The Clyde One Super Scoreboard podcast was brought to you by White & Mackay, a calm head amongst the chaos. 18 plus. Keep the heat and always drink responsibly.
LinkedIn is pretty great at a lot of things, like helping you tap into your field's latest industry trends and insights. We can't stop your colleague from tapping her pencil. LinkedIn can help you find new jobs that align with your career goals. We cannot help find the source of that weird smell in the office fridge. Ew. And while we can't stop your colleagues from bringing their hobbies into the office, LinkedIn can help bring your career to the next level. LinkedIn is the network that works for you.
A Rayo original podcast. I'm Catherine Ryan, back for season 3 of my podcast, What's My Age Again? Join more celebrity guests as they take the test to find the difference between their biological and chronological ages.
That's good.
With guests including Laura Whitmore, Jimmy Carr, Joanna Page, Joe Lycett, Chloe Burrows, and Ruby Wax.
Oh.
What's My Age Again?
Really?
Find it on the Rayo app, Apple, Spotify, Amazon Music, or wherever you get your podcasts, with new episodes every Tuesday.